Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from A2DRadio.com's Real Talk Studios right here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. I am Matt Tsutsudi. This is the Penguin lover himself, Michael Plankoff.
Hello.
And finally, joining us from his hiatus here on the Hockey Happy Hour is the Darkwing himself, Mr. Brian Daly.
That's right, I'm back, bitches.
Yes.
Woo! We needed you. I missed you a lot. I really did.
Hey, you guys did all right without me.
Of course we did.
You held it down. You guys did a great job. What a fool.
I just needed somebody to argue my list.
And behind the board this week is not Mr. Ryan Broda, so we can't torture him this week like we were the last week. However, though, we can be tortured by none other than Mr. Frank Vespi.
Hey, yo. I don't know why it's not working right. There we go. Hey, yo. Much better.
Okay. So, with that being said, this is the Hockey Happy Hour, brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com.
I like it.
And with that, it is time for us to dive into the top goalies in the NHL, because we went through the wingers, centermen, the defensemen. Now it's time to finish off the team, and we go to what many people consider the most important and the toughest position in hockey, the goaltending portion of the hockey team.
Yes, it is.
So,
Yeah, I mean, they keep the puck out of the net.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
If you
most
ain't got a
important,
goalie-
absolutely.
If you don't have a
Yeah.
top-tier goalie, you're not winning a Stanley Cup.
No, agreed.
not anymore these days.
No.
It's not like the days back when you could stack the deck with 20 to 50 goal scorers and just say, all
And
right.
just win it that way.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
give a
Well,
shit
I mean,
who's in goal.
There we go.
most games were like 7 to 8 anyway, so.
Well, yeah, that's true. And also, if you had a real shit team back then, you were losing like 12 to 5,
Yeah.
you know, or 12 to 1. That's how bad it would be
Yeah.
for some teams.
That's why I don't give some guys points credits, because goals were so frequent back then.
Okay, so
When goalies look like this every like, you're not going to make a save that way. I'm sorry.
But it's so funny how goaltending pads have come. Used to be huge, and now they're small because they want
It's
to
just-
try and produce more offense, more goals, get the people into it, you know,
Yeah.
make the sport a little more exciting. But
I don't care what they do to it. They're never going to have the goal scoring they used to have back then.
no,
It's
not at all.
impossible.
Agreed.
Plus, the nets used to be bigger.
But look at it this, like, these goaltenders are bigger athletes now. Like, Ben Bishop is what, 6'3" or 6'7", yeah. So these goalies are bigger. So it doesn't matter how small you make the pads. The guys are bigger. So obviously they're going to take up more room in the net.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, I have to wonder though, if we were judging this based on today's standards, do you think the goalies of the past would still be doing as phenomenally well, if not better? They probably, if you put them on a team nowadays, they probably would win a cup every year because they were that good, and they were facing guys who could score on anybody.
I mean, if you take a look at the rules with the crease and all that, it'll definitely benefit. The goalies of the past would definitely benefit from today's rules.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, especially
Yeah.
with the goalie interference.
Goalie interference,
Yeah.
the size of the crease, the trapezoid.
Yeah,
everything.
no Sean Avery plays, you know.
The lack of there being a clear definition of what the fuck goaltender interference is.
We still don't have that.
We still don't know. The league.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
They decided not to address that in the offseason. That'll probably come back to bite them in the ass a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But like we always do, our top 10 lists are going to be divided It's going to be Brian and Mikey over here doing the current top goalies in the NHL. I myself and Mr. Vespi will doing the historical top 10s. And, of course, if you are watching on out there on Facebook or on the YouTube, you can answer our Twitter poll question, which was who is the top goalie currently in the NHL. And you can also chime in and either argue with our opinions or say, yeah, why did you put him so low on the list? Or why did you put him so high on the list? You guys are dumb fucks. Feel free to chime in anytime
want
you
it.
want to.
We want
Please
it.
feel free.
But
I mean, I
first-
don't want to be called a dumb fuck, but I mean,
Well, yeah,
by all means,
of course.
chime in.
I'm doing.
Absolutely.
I'm
Let's
giving,
debate.
I'm giving an example. Hey, you never know what's going to be said on these airwaves. I mean, come on. I think you both already know you don't know what the fuck's going to happen half the
Pretty
time.
much.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is
So
It alters every week for us. So.
yeah, usually.
But Maddie, before we get into our countdown, why don't we talk a little bit about the Sean Couturier injury?
Oh yes,
So
absolutely.
considering he says he's going to be out approximately about 4 weeks or so, re-injuring his right knee that already had a scare with him last season as well. How much do you think, if any, will it impact him or the team moving forward?
Well, it's definitely going to impact the team because it's going to hurt the secondary scoring. It provides an opportunity for one of the younger guys who's down in the minors right now to step up in training camp and say, okay, well, Couturier's now got a busted wheel. It's now time for you guys to see if you guys can step up to the plate and try and not carry the numbers he was carrying from last season, but at least have a steady play to where you're reliable on the offense. And that's the opportunity for them. So is somebody going to take advantage of that in the absence? I hope so, because if not,
The more the better, right?
yeah, because if not, then we got to be clamoring and clinging and praying for when Sean Couturier comes back to try and stabilize.
Which-
However,
It doesn't seem long. I mean, obviously he'll be back for the season to start, but just going forward, if he's re-aggravating it now, what's his chances of re-aggravating it again in the season? That's the biggest
Well,
issue.
exactly, and that's where I half agree with Maddie. If you're a young pup and you're getting ready to, this is your opportunity.
Yeah.
Sean Couturier is going to miss 4 weeks, and that's a bulk of training camp. He's probably going to be back towards the end of the preseason, getting ready to lace him up in October. But it's an opportunity for you to get some extra looks now. You're going to get to play some extra games, extra shifts. If you're a young pup and you want to get noticed, now's the time.
Exactly.
You have that opening. So Couturier, he'll be back, and I don't think he's really going to make a huge difference. But if you're a young guy, this is your opportunity to
Take
be
advantage.
noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
but with that whole Couturier injury too, him possibly re-injuring it during the regular season, it does have a high probability, so it may not be immediately when he comes back that he starts every single. He may start at first, but they may scratch him a few times and not just to be on the safe side. Just okay, we'll scratch him on this game, a couple games here. We'll just go through, see where his knee is at, so that way we don't have to worry about him getting hurt midway through the year. And then now we're really in a tough bind because now we need to find secondary scoring. We need to find it now.
Yeah.
And if it's not happening in the Phantoms right now, where do we go from here? Then you got to go to the free
I
agency.
got you.
And you
I
don't
gotcha.
want to do that because you don't know what's out there in the free agency. Hell, maybe somebody's not even – there might not even be anything good out there come that time period. But anyway,
I'm with you.
although who knows? We may trade Brian Elliott come midseason, start Carter Hart. Who fucking
Yeah,
knows
who
at this
knows?
point
Hey,
in
well,
time?
we'll see.
Zero
I mean,
no.
I know that's what the fans want. The fans want Carter Hart now.
Everybody wants Carter Hart now. I
So-
can't blame him.
Who do we want? Carter. Why do we want him now?
Pretty much every single
Yeah.
Philadelphia fan currently wearing a Flyers jersey.
Not even necessarily just Philly fans, just hockey fans in general that, they've seen this kid play in juniors and know what he's capable of.
Yeah,
Let's see.
exactly.
They want to see what he can do at the NHL level.
Absolutely, and that's going to be even great because if he can get a head start and he can really start to get his ears wet with the NHL, it may prove beneficial because then the Flyers can get a possible deeper run in the postseason. Maybe not exactly the first year he starts, but maybe the following year.
Yeah.
And he's still very young. So it's okay, he's still got plenty of room to grow. So do the rest of the team. But they got a deeper run. They got to the semifinals or even maybe shockingly get to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose. But at the end of the day, it's holy shit, we got that far.
Yeah.
So it's good. We're starting to make really good leaps right now towards where we want to be. That's going to be hopeful because you get that goalie, it could change the team around immediately.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
all right then. Oh, by the way, Dave Rosca is chiming in on YouTube. What's up, boys? What's up,
Dave.
Rosca?
What's up?
Rosca?
Your master.
Dave, I missed you.
Yeah, I know.
Where have you been?
The two boys missed each other, man.
Aw.
So,
The puppy love.
hey,
Don't be a hater. Don't be haters. Don't be haters.
listen, no one's hating on you. It's 20,
Don't be haters.
It's 2018. We don't judge.
Better not
Christ
judge.
almighty. You got, two Ducks fans, two estranged kindred souls.
On
They
complete
eventually-
opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, and eventually they find each other online.
Although he's more like 2,500 miles away.
Still
in
though.
Arizona.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but every once in a while, you can find that special someone. And all you got to do is hop on your computer. Who
Well, he could
knew?
just fly there.
Yo, he could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he could.
It's a little expensive, but he could do
No,
that.
he's paying for my flight.
Yeah, we should
got
we
wings.
should totally get We should totally.
Hey, look, the mic is killing you. Fly him over. Oh, okay, there we go. But you know what we should do then? Road trip. All the way across country. Yeah, there we go.
Sounds too familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck our jobs. Who needs them?
Huh. We'd be just like the best in the business.
It must be.
Yeah, there you go.
Take a road
Gotta
trip, get
follow
an
in the
RV.
footsteps, right?
Hell,
Right. It's following the footsteps of greatness.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
All right, boys, what do we say we get down to it?
I'm down for it.
All
Let's
right.
do the top 10, and we're going to do 10 through 6 to start things off, and then we will take a break, come back, do 5 through 1. So, our number 10s, and we'll start it off with you, Mikey and Brian, for today's current number 10 in the NHL.
Since you have the goalie jersey on,
No, I was gonna say since you haven't been here in 3 weeks, why don't you
it's
go
fine.
first?
Get me going. Get me
That's
get me riled up. Give me your number 10.
You
All right,
guys can
number
do rock,
10?
paper, scissors, and just see
Yeah,
who wins.
do that.
Nah, I don't want to
Okay.
lose on in front of
on the airwaves.
Yeah.
that
All right.
damn paper.
But it makes it entertaining.
Fucking scissors.
Oh, scissor me timbers.
All right. So my number 10, I'm waiting now. You know,
I just caught that image in my head, and that's great.
you guys are messed up.
Somebody doesn't watch South Park.
I actually don't.
I know.
But number 10, yes, he had the most wins this year, but he still needs to prove a little more to me to be a little bit higher on this list. I'm going Connor Halaback as my number 10 goalie going into the season. He went 44, 11, and 9 last year. Had a save percentage of .924. Only allowed 2.36 goals per game. So, I mean, overall, he's a big reason as to why this team did so well. But it's hard to say right now that he could be higher on the list. It was kind of – I don't want to just put a guy in his first, like, actual full season of, playing good to just throw him in the top 10. I was hesitant to do it. But
Well, to be fair, though, I think he finally got a taste of the NHL postseason. He got a really solid year under his belt.
yeah.
Now he's got a long contract extension. So now the real question is he going to pull a fucking
Is he
you
going
know.
to actually be worth what he's getting paid?
Yeah.
Which I think he will be, considering that nucleus of that team is still there.
Yeah.
So this team is going to be good for years to come, and he's going to be a big reason why. I think he could eventually move up on my list, but right now that's why I have him at 10, specifically because of where he's playing, and the team around him. Obviously, with that being said, makes him a better goalie. Why I have him at number 10.
Yeah. I mean, for Winnipeg, we'll see where it goes from here. I think Winnipeg's got a shot. Obviously, they have a Wild Cup. They have a Stanley Cup opportunity. Wild Cup. What the
Wild Cup.
fuck is that? Anyway, goddamn you Wild Cards. Why the fuck are you in hockey?
The official
Anyway.
cup of James Wilder himself, the Wild
Yes.
Cup.
All right, that one I support that, but goddamn you Wild Cards. Why the fuck are you in hockey? That's goddamn baseball. Anyway, so Stanley Cup opportunity for them. They do have a shot. All they really have to do is just keep that nucleus intact. Hellebuck should be a major part of that, but I understand why you feel like, okay, I'm kind of iffy because it is like that 1 year, but you do have to give him that kind of like without
that's
him,
why I can't not have
yeah,
him in there because
yeah.
I have to give him credit for, most wins first off as a US born goaltender in NHL history,
which is awesome.
which is great. And, just like I said, 44 wins is phenomenal. He
That is.
led the
Absolutely.
league with 44. So I mean, what else can you say? He was tied with Andrei Vasilevsky for the league lead.
Well, here's the thing. You don't want him to be that flash in the pan that
Yeah.
Cam Talbot was last year, winning, 43? And what he do the next year. So
Yeah.
you want to see what he does
Well,
to,
Yeah, like 30
It's a
something
little
this
different.
year.
as the encore for
Yeah.
44 wins.
Well, it was a little different, though, with Talbot, only because Talbot had been a backup 90% of his career,
Yeah.
and this was his first starting role, and he wanted to prove himself. And not only did he prove himself, he definitely 100% should have stayed a backup goalie. But anyway.
Yeah, but
Well, I
you
mean,
can't,
everybody was sitting there saying, "Oh, Cam Talbot, he's going to be the next so and so." I'm like, no, he's not.
I didn't ever think that. I always thought that he was a solid goaltender, but you look at the team around him; they're not really defensively sound in Edmonton. They're not to me one of the better defensive teams out there, which is why they have to score a lot of goals in order to win their games. So, and I don't think all that fault goes on to Talbot, but it's the defense as well. Adam Larson can't do everything himself.
No.
Well, we do have another comment that rolled in here on the YouTube from Andre Peruzzo, who we've had on the show. And he goes on to say, Matt is a bum. Thank you. And he also goes on to say, Pittsburgh still sucks so bad that Hitler and the BTK killer and Dahmer support those criminals. Go
Jeez.
Birds. So apparently you are a Nazi and a
Wow.
serial killer
Wow.
all rolled up into one there, Mikey.
Wow.
That's
Congrats.
That's
pretty impressive.
yeah.
That's
All you had to do was wear a Penguins jersey this whole damn time. Who
that's
knew?
pretty dark.
Who knew?
Wow, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
We don't condone any of that here, by the way.
No, we don't.
We do not
one
condone
bit.
No, we
Nazis
do-
or serial killers.
No, we don't.
We no.
Yeah,
I understand I'm German, but why you take like, you don't need to take shots at me like that.
Oh,
Jeez.
that's the cross you gotta
Wow.
bear. That's the cross you bear, man. It's the cross you bear.
All right, I gotta go, guys.
Bla-
I'll
bla-
see you
Good night,
later.
everybody.
hey, blame the fatherland. It's their fault at the end of the day, not yours.
Not
The
mine.
fatherland.
No, not at all.
Besides,
My family had
you were
nothing to
born
do-
in the United States.
They were already here
yeah.
by the time that shit went down.
Okay, so then you were on the USA side,
Yeah.
so you're on the good side.
I'm
so
fine,
we'll go with
okay?
that one. All
He's
right,
good.
you're on the side that kicked the shit out of Hitler. There
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
All right.
Why are we having this discussion?
I don't know. But
Oh, just because we take things and go a mile with them. 'Cause we have
Hitler
to.
only on
true.
HUD radio.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow, we just opened ourselves.
Hey,
up
we're
to a
turning. We're
whole
turning.
new audience,
We're
by
turning
the
into the
way.
History Channel. There we go. Talk about Hitler all the time. Lovely.
No.
Not that the History Channel even shows history anymore, but anyway.
No, they don't really. They stopped
Hitler
doing
and
that a long time
pawn
ago.
shops. So there we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's history there. Pawn shop. There you go.
All right, so
We're not going to bring up that subject to my dad because he'll just go off on his whole tangent.
So, all right. So anyway, speaking of that, he then goes on to say Briz, and the only reason why he falls in that category is that he's a piece of shit. But so thank you, Briz, so much. You were so wonderful
great.
in a Flyers
letting in
jersey.
beach balls.
Yeah. Yep. God. Anyway. And then Frostin1 says, how much do you hate Ron Tugnut? Good question, actually. I don't know. How much could you hate Ron Tugnut?
How much nut
I
would
don't.
how much nut would a tug nut tug if a tug nut could tug nut?
That's a
Wow.
lot. Dude, all I can say is that's a lot of nut. That's all I could say.
Oh my goodness.
Go on. You saw that one coming a mile away.
Yeah.
I should have and I didn't. What did I come back to?
And
I
then
swear, it wasn't like this. when
It
you
wasn't.
were
I
gone.
watched. Oy.
Brian, come back.
See what happens when I come back. Apparently, I'm a bad
I'm
influence.
the only seen one here. Okay?
Apparently.
Dude, how many times did I say while he was gone? It's like, oh man, I wish Brian was here.
Many times.
And now he also goes on to say former Pens goalie. Honestly, though, I can't really hate Tugnut, honestly, because I really don't hate him nearly as much as I hated Fleury. But then again, I also love Fleury because every time Fleury was in net, we would score a shit ton of goals on him. So I
Yeah.
didn't really hate Fleury
he
either.
Definitely.
If I hate one goalie, I would probably hate Matt Murray, and that's probably why we've injured him
Well,
twice.
that's why you enter him every time we play him.
So
That's
I
why.
would say Matt Murray's
That's
the
why
one
Mike
I
Sullivan's
hate.
like, you know what? All right, guys. Tristan Jarry, you're starting tonight.
Yeah, I would say.
All right, who do we got tonight? Murray, you're going to go there.
I think-
Flyers, okay.
Flyers,
Yeah.
Murray, you're not playing.
Who's our backup?
Honestly, though, I think that was.
Michael Layton, you're going to start that game.
Yeah, Michael Layton.
It was. I think it was it was a move to make sure that we had half a shot going into that playoff series to make sure if we injure him this way, maybe he won't be back in time for the playoffs, and then we'll have a better opportunity.
Better
Only
luck
half.
next time. Better luck next time.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, so anyway.
Brian, your turn.
All
All right. My number 10, Los Angeles Kings goalie, Johnny Quick. It's a little low, and I thought it was a little low, but I don't like the direction that team is heading. I mean, they've been on a little bit of an upward climb last year. His numbers were still very solid. His win-loss is kind of where I lost it.
Yeah.
For him, where he came down, finishing at 33 and 28. Save percentage was great in 921. Goals against 2.40, which I believe was like second in the league in goals against, or it's at least top 5.
Yeah.
But the numbers are still there. I just don't like the defense in front of him, and I think the defense in front of him is going to hurt him.
It hurts a lot because he's clearly, in my eyes anyway, I have him, top 5. But not going to say where I have him yet. But in my eyes, I still think that he is capable. He's the reason why they
he's
got
absolutely
to the
capable.
playoffs.
He's absolutely capable.
Yeah.
I just don't like the team that's in front of him.
No,
I don't like the direction the Kings are
I'm
going.
with you too.
I mean, obviously, I like where they're going. But for Jonathan
for your
Quick,
team's sake, yes.
for this top 10 list, I just they're heading downhill. They're
Yeah.
signing guys like Ilya Kovalchuk, who hasn't been in the league in, 8 years?
Yeah, but you know what, though? I think he could still play.
No, absolutely can still play, but is he really going to mix well with the rest of the team?
Yeah.
Are they going to put up the offensive numbers that he can let 2 or 3 go and still be okay?
Yeah.
How's the defense going to look this year?
See, I always thought it was going to be really odd when he came back, or if he even did come back. Now that he is, I always thought that he was going to sign with a team that was a little bit more playoff bound. Not to say that the Kings can't make the playoffs. They certainly can.
Yeah.
But compared to other teams like, say, Colorado, who are kind of on the way up, and teams like, say, Calgary, who did a lot in the offseason to get themselves better.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it.
Yeah, or even joining a team like you guys or San Jose that are
we're kind of on
usually
the way down.
Well, yeah, but you guys are usually in the playoffs or in the hunt. You would think that he would go to a team like that. Even in the East, you would think, okay, would he go on to a team like Boston, or would he go on to a team like well, I don't think he was going to go back onto the Devils.
No.
That's for sure.
Could you imagine?
Oh, God.
That'd be like the biggest slap in the face to the organization.
He goes back
Be
to the
stupid enough to sign him.
Oh, that would be
I'm happy
hilarious.
Ray Shero wasn't stupid enough to do that.
Hey, listen,
I think Ray
I'm happy
Shearer's a
Anaheim
little-
didn't sign him.
Yeah.
So
Let-
I'm good.
Let's give Ray a little bit of credit. I think he's a little smarter than that to
Yeah.
bring back somebody like Kovalchuk on that team who stiffed them on
Yeah,
that
big
last
time.
deal.
Big time.
But anyway, so I mean, for the Kings though, the thing about it is, as long as he has a strong year, they always have an opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
know?
And Johnny Quick is going to be that guy that's going to help lead them. But again, I don't like where they are and playing in front. So I think he's going to suffer. His numbers are going to suffer a little bit. He's still going to have a good year.
Yeah, he probably will. I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens? Maybe the Kings, they do their thing. Maybe they just decide if they don't do well this year, maybe they go a little bit trading on the side of piecemeal, and then they say, you know what, we're going to rebuild. And even then, Quick will still probably have good years. He'll just have a shit team in front of him, which
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
he came out of nowhere essentially, and he's had a great career thus far, and that's not going to change.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a top 10 goalie in this league, hands down.
well, what is he? Is he in his 30s yet? Or is
I think
he-
he's like 31, 32, somewhere
I was gonna say, I
ballpark
don't-
my
yeah,
age.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if that's
Getting old now.
Shut up.
are you sure you're happy you're back?
Nope.
So, but that's the thing, though. If it comes down to it, where they decide to sell off a lot of their pieces, like they said, okay, we're going to trade Dustin Brown, or we're going to trade Anze Kopitar, and we're just going to rebuild this fucking team. I would say the best option for him then would to consider being traded to another team.
Yeah.
And if he goes to another team, who knows? Maybe he winds up joining your old compatriots' current team if he's retired by then, the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm throwing out possibilities there. Who knows? Maybe Malcolm Subban will have taken over by then, but still.
Hey,
I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't bet on Malcolm Subban. Come
Fleury's
on.
still got some years in him.
I'm not
He
saying
does.
he doesn't. I'm just, just saying. Quick's a little younger.
Absolutely.
Fleury may be gone by then. Maybe they need to find another goalie, and they're desperate, and they go to Quick.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe Quick actually gets them their first cup.
Can you imagine?
God, that would be hilarious.
That would
He
be
goes
pretty
on to
cool.
I
that
don't know
team
how I
as
would
their
feel
first-
about that.
I don't think
I know
you,
Brian would be pissed.
You wouldn't be happy because you hate the Knights.
No, he's
so-
jumping from one fucking rival to another. Fuck that. No.
But that's the
I'd
thing,
quit.
though.
I'd quit.
But that's the thing, though. Wouldn't he kind of be a demotion? He goes from being a king to being a knight. Just like that's kind of
Yeah.
like a shitty
That is-
demotion. Like
yeah.
you're like I was a king. Now I'm a
Now I'm a
fucking
knight.
knight.
Yeah.
I'm just one of the fucking guys who goes out and gets killed in the battlefield. Why the fuck do I want this?
I was a king.
Huzzah!
No, I'm a knight. I've been demoted.
Yeah, I want to sit back on my fucking throne, get fat, eating a feast, and not have to worry about shit. There we go. That's what the life is.
All right. Greg Malakovich chiming in. Greg, what's going on, brother?
What's
What
up,
up?
Greg?
I haven't talked to you in a while. Says, what's up, fellas? Sir Bob for me just because of the connection.
All right, then. All right. I still hate Paul Holmgren to this day. But anyway.
Let it go.
No! I'm never going to let that shit go. Because
Let it go.
When you actually
you
have
might
a
be.
good
You might have
goaltender.
a better option right now with Carter Hart, but
Look,
we'll see.
I'm just saying, though, I'm waiting for him to come up. Then I'll let it go. Until then,
Till then.
Till then.
we'd probably be at least one cup deep by
Okay,
now.
fair enough.
But
I'll give you
anyway.
that one. Fair enough. All right. Next.
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah.
All right, Maddie, it's your time.
All
Let's
right.
get our history lesson.
All right, well, let's
I got
see
my pen
here.
ready. I'm ready to take notes.
Hashtag some notes.
Well,
Hashtag
this
some notes.
yeah, this one's going to be an easy one for anyone who knows anything about hockey. There is a certain trophy that is handed out every year to the best goalie in the,
I know,
in
it's your
the biz.
10.
Number 10 is none other than George Vezina. Reason being is the trophy's named after him for a reason. He was the first of the greatest goalies. And that's all you got to say about that. Just to give you how tough this guy was, this guy played through a hemorrhage and and tuberculosis.
That's pretty
Ouch.
Yeah.
I defy a player to do that today. Have a hemorrhage or have tuberculosis. Have either one. You don't have to have both in the same night. But try to play through either one and then come back to me and tell me how tough you are. That guy's tough, and that's why the trophy's named after him. That man has to be at number 10 here.
Respect.
Cool. Exactly.
Jesus. I'm hurting just thinking about it. Wow.
All right. So my 10. I had a really hard time going with 10, but I did a 10A, 10B, only because they played on the same team. Both very similar stats, very similar records. I got Johnny Bauer and Turk Broda as my number 10.
Okay. I like Johnny Bauer. That's a good one. I don't know much about the other guy.
Johnny Bauer, two-time Vezina Trophy winner, four-time Stanley Cup winner. Bauer posted a 2.51 GAA over his career. He is the all-time AHL wins leader with 250. And over with Turk Broda, he is a five-time Stanley Cup champion, two-time Vezina Trophy winner. 2.53 GAA in his career with a 1.98 GAA in the playoffs.
That's phenomenal.
That is phenomenal.
That's pretty damn good.
That is.
So those are my 10s.
Nice.
I like him.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do too.
All right, then.
Especially Johnny Bauer. You don't hear his name enough.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So that's a nice surprise. That's a refreshing surprise. I like the thought process behind Johnny Bauer.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, on to
Number 9.
my number 9. Yeah.
Oh, that had me going last time you did.
What did you do?
No, it's just the
I
way he
didn't do
says
anything.
it. It's
It's
just
what
funny.
Frank did.
Oh, it's just when he says it.
It's a Beatles reference.
Yeah.
Revolution
Why,
9.
why is it always got to be me? I'm not the only one here.
My
I love
number
some
9,
Beatles.
I'm giving it to my boy right here. Going Mr. Gibson. He went
Great guitar.
31 and 18
This
last.
is a great guitar. It's a great guitar.
He went 31, 18, and 7 last season. Great save percentage, 926, and 2.43 goals allowed per game, which is pretty solid. Again, you know, he's a lot better goaltender, but the team around him last year was kind of iffy.
It's
and you could
the
definitely
defense.
you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. You know, they were. I have them a little higher on this list for homer reasons.
Yes, that's okay.
And because I think, you know, this contract is going to really help him.
It is. But like you said before, though, the
Defense was weak in front of
Yeah.
him. As long as they can play stronger in front of him, Gibson will be fine because
Yeah.
Gibson shows he can. He's proven he's a good goalie in the league.
Oh yeah.
And I know there's a lot of Ducks fans out there that say he's not, he doesn't deserve the contract, blah, blah, blah. Get the defense to play in front of him.
Yeah.
I've seen too many mental mistakes from this team where, you know, another defenseman is going to be left high and dry, and that's going to screw Gibson over. Or, you know, they're just giving up too many prime shots in the slot.
I got a better one. It's like, well, then who the fuck else would be the goaltender of the team? What, you want to go back to Jonas Hiller?
Good times.
Good times.
Right-handed glove.
I mean, we'd rock Ryan Miller.
Who? He's still there?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
got him for one more year.
Okay.
Should have kept Jonas. Then you could have had Hiller and Miller as your two
Hiller
as your
and
two
Miller.
goals.
Yeah, but Jonas Hiller is like 41 now.
Hey, listen. I'm
He
just
was
saying,
good. I mean,
hey,
he did make
he
the
was
NHL
all right.
Hey,
cover.
listen. Hey, look.
He was all right.
I'm going to say this once. I'll say it again. You either want efficient and successful, or you want awesome. You can't have both. You
Why
got to
not?
sacrifice one for the other. Because usually awesome doesn't always result in Stanley Cups. Just saying.
I like this comment because it leads into my number 9. Robert Aldisberger says Pecorine is the best goalie in NHL. False. He's my number 9.
Wow.
He's my number 9.
Holy shit.
Listen, he spent a lot of time on a terrible Nashville team and he has still put up phenomenal numbers even through all that. The only reason why the guy's going to get any kind of recognition now is because the team is good. He's getting more recognition now than he did earlier in his career because the team was just god-awful.
He went 42 and 13.
I know he did.
Oh my God. You got him at 9?
Yeah.
Woo!
31 and 19 the year before that. 34-21 the year before that. 41 and 17. 10 and 10. We also started 24 games that year. I lost where I was. Oh, 15 and 16. I mean, he's a top tier goalie in this league. There's no doubt about that. I just think there's better out there.
Okay.
Listen, his numbers last year were awesome. Goals against 2.31. Save percentage 927. Again, great numbers. But because of the team in front of him, I can't give it to him. I can't give him over number 9.
Well, Pekka's going to be – see, the thing about it is not just the team, too.
He's also 35 years
He's 35. We'll see how
old. He'll be 36 this year. That's why I can't give it to him.
Yeah,
That's another
we'll
reason why I
see.
can't give it to him,
You
I should
know,
say.
I mean, that's the other thing, too, is like age hits the goalie real quickly. I mean, very few people can do what Patrick Waugh did and what others did where they can play until they're almost like 50 and pretty much say, oh, yeah, I'm still just as flexible and able to move around as well as when I was 19. I'm like, that is wonderful.
And he led the league in shutouts last year, so I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I think he's phenomenal. He's top tier
I think he's
in the
pretty
league.
damn
Is he the
phenomenal.
best in the league? That's debatable. I don't think he is. I think there's definitely better out there.
I think so, too.
But he's definitely deserving of being in the top 10. He's a top 10 goalie for damn sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
don't get me wrong. Nashville would not have a Western Conference championship without him.
Agreed.
But
Yeah, because Saros wasn't going to do it.
No.
yeah, that's
Talk
for
about a
sure.
difference in goalies.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
God.
Woo! Night
You
and day.
Yeah.
It is literally like, here's Rene, here's Casaros.
Yeah.
It's just like,
And to be fair, I mean, the guy has, he's had some injury problems too.
well, that is true. There were a few years where he was not playing full years, and it was debatable whether he'd be ready for the postseason.
I mean, the last 4 years, he started at least 60 games. So he's been proven to be healthy now, but
yeah. I can't.
he had some trouble staying healthy before.
I still can't see myself putting 8 other guys in front of him, though. For my list,
You'll
even-
understand. You'll understand
No,
why when you hear the rest of it.
All right.
I'm sure we got a lot of similar men, but I got
All right.
him a lot higher.
So at number 9, we have Pecorini on Brian's list. All right, time to go to the historical side of things. So on the history side, I did a tie for 9, and the first one is Bernie. And the only reason why I put Bernie in there is because he is the best goalie in Flyers history. But not only that, too, he was just an unbelievable goaltender for his time. And he got 2 trophies for the Flyers 2 straight years in a row and won 2 straight Conn Smythe trophies. He also wound up winning Vezina Trophy. The guy still had the hardware to back it up. There wasn't any doubt there. The guy he's tied with, though, would be a smidge higher on that number 9 pedestal because it's Billy Smith. And Frank knows a lot about Billy Smith.
I am aware of Billy Smith.
Yes.
One of my father's favorite goalies.
Billy Smith, in a lot of ways, is kind of like a precursor to a Ron Hextall because he was a fiery, tempered-filled goalie, but at the same time, he was just as phenomenal as Hextall. He was exceptional because of the fact that the team that played in front of him, and he still put on unbelievable performances on top of that. Because any goalie can be good. Even a shit goalie can be real good when you got a good defense in front of him. Any goalie.
Absolutely.
However, even when you have good players in front of you and you still can perform at a top level, and it doesn't matter, and you could sub those players out and put backup players in, and that's how good you are, it doesn't make a difference. That was Billy Smith for that team.
And he was among one of the first goalies to score a goal from his own net.
That too. So again, even more of a precursor to Ron
Impressive.
Hextall. So with that also being said, Billy Smith winds up taking that spot at number 9. He also won the 4 straight Stanley Cups with the Islanders. So
Helps a lot.
and currently,
Oh yeah.
and I do believe this record still stands today. He holds the record for the most consecutive playoff series wins. He won 19 straight playoff series.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
That's
that.
pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I would love to see a goalie try and break that. I would really love to see. You'd have to win a Stanley Cup for the next.
Well, you would have to win 5 straight.
Yeah, you have to win 5 straight Stanley
That's
Cups.
20 series.
That'll be
5
impressive.
straight cups.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that
the-
means he got to the finals and lost.
Yeah.
At one point.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
The
1980.
5th year that they were
yeah.
about to go for the 5.
Yeah, 1984. That was the year they lost. They lost to the Edmonton Oilers. So they handed off the baton to the next dynasty. That
Yeah.
And
was gonna
speaking of
follow.
the next one, that next dynasty, I actually have my number 9 as Grant Fuhrer.
Ah,
Grant Fuhrer.
Good
six,
segue.
6 time.
Great
Wow,
segue.
what a great segue. 6-time All-Star. Holds 5 NHL records, including longest undefeated streak by a goaltender in his first NHL season with 23. Most assists in a single season by a goaltender, 14. Shares an NHL record with most wins in a single postseason with 16. Most games played by a goaltender in a single season, 79.
Oh, my God.
And most consecutive appearances in a single season by a goaltender, 76. And, of course, you got a Vezina Trophy as well as 5 Stanley Cups.
and one without Gretzky, too.
Could you imagine playing 79 games in 1 year as a goalie?
No.
That's a big workload.
Yeah.
That's a huge
Imagine those
workload.
back-to-backs. Woo! Home and homes. Woo! I don't know if they really did that back then, but woo!
Yeah.
You know what the funny part is, too? He was actually also a really good catcher in baseball. And he almost wound up playing baseball, but he chose hockey instead.
Well,
So
it
Grant
worked out
Fuhrer-
for him.
Yeah, Grant Fuhrer
Oh, yeah.
almost never played a day in the NHL. That would have been so tragic.
Now, somebody that should have done that was Brandon Whedon when he got drafted in the NFL. He should have played baseball.
There you go.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that the only people that thought that he was going to be garbage were the guys that worked here.
Yeah.
Everyone else, no, Brandon Whedon's going to be fine. Where?
Well, he was
is
a 29-year-old
now?
drafted first-round
Yeah.
quarterback, which was the first mistake.
by
And
Cleveland.
then by Cleveland. There was the second mistake. And where is he now? Is he like the third string in Houston or
I
something
don't
like
even
that?
know where he
Or
is.
is he
Where
in
did
Dallas?
He wind up?
I think he's in Houston, I believe, or he's a free agent. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's somewhere.
I lost him. I lost track of him after he left for Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I can say is that every time something comes up with the Browns, it smells like the color of their jersey
Mhm.
every single time.
I agree. What up,
Is that
Pops?
what that smell is?
I thought it was what The Rock was cooking.
Ew.
That's some bad stuff then, apparently.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, number 8 for me. I'm going Mr. Frederick Anderson. Let's see here. We went 38, 21, and 5 last season with a save percentage of .918. The one reason why I have him so low is almost that he has a 3 goals allowed per game with a 2.81, which is surprising. I mean, he is going to be a lot better this season. This team is definitely up and coming. I think, other than Tampa Bay's powerhouse, I think that they could actually finish second in this division this year. Boston should hopefully go on a slope. I'm hoping they're going on a slope downward. And, Anderson, like I said, he's a great goaltender. Had a great season last year. Definitely needs to work on how many pucks he lets in per game, but otherwise he has no other complaints from me.
Nah, I like him. I liked him in Anaheim. I still like him in Toronto. He's worth the money that he's going to get paid. He's a quality starter.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I dig it. He actually didn't make my list.
Wow. I'm surprised because I know throughout the season when I bashed him a lot, you defended him a lot and really liked him. I was kind of surprised.
I do. I do.
He's another reason. That's kind of the reason why I have Anderson and Gibson right next to each other in honor of you. So.
Oh, you're so sweet.
But I put one of my guys on top of him. So.
It always comes back.
It always
to
comes
that,
back.
doesn't
We'll
it?
get to that. We'll get to that.
So, my number 8 is I could receive some heat for this, is Marty Jones from the San Jose Sharks.
Why?
He's a fairly young goalie with
Wait, don't look at Frank. Don't look at Frank. He's gonna get it.
Oh, come on, Frank. Lighten up.
All right, it's better than Joe Thornton. So
right. Which, by the way, what time is it? It's 8:43, and Joe Thornton still sucks.
Exactly.
So Marty Jones, he's still a fairly young goaltender going into his age 29 season. Ton of upside still to this kid. And, the 3 years he spent as a starter, he started 60-plus games. Goals against average under 3 every year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was actually his highest at 2.55. His his save percentages is about average, 915, 912, 918 in those 3 consecutive years. But since coming over to San Jose, he's taken the starter reins, and he's just absolutely run with them. He's been phenomenal. Like I said, he's still fairly young. He's going to be 29 at some point this season. He's a 2-time Vezina finalist. Didn't win any yet. But, it goes to show you that this kid still has a lot to prove, and I think he's doing a tremendous job in San Jose.
Nah.
And they got a good defensive plan in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's Brett Burns obviously being one of the best defensemen in my eyes anyway.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I mean, you could argue it. I don't have him in my top 10, but I mean, in his 3 years there, he's brought them to the Cup once, and almost made a solid run this season. So, it's
30-plus wins in all his starting season. So
it's a shame they had to play the Knights.
It really is. No, I mean, that was a lose-lose for me, but whatever.
That's what they ran into. So
yeah.
I think everybody ran into the Knights, with the exception of the Caps, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, sadly.
It was like a wall.
Damn it. That just eats you up still.
It does. It sucks. The worst thing is going to be here in defending Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals.
For
Yeah,
the
but
rest
you're
of
only
the
going to hear
year.
it for 1 year.
Yeah, that's long.
It is long.
And just to make it
This
worse,
year's
you
a
gotta
leap year. No, I'm kidding.
you still got to deal with
it's so hard to
defending
be a
Super Bowl
Penguins fan.
champions.
Oh my
That
God.
too. That's even harder. I got to listen to that for the next 20 weeks.
Oh, it's so hard to be a Penguins fan. Not
It
that
is.
the NHL had to put up with the defending Stanley Cup champ Pittsburgh Penguins for 2 fucking years in a row. Jesus.
Yeah, that does sound pretty bad for.
Yeah,
for
2
you.
straight years in a row.
I mean,
I have to hear that.
It
yeah.
could be worse. It could be defending Stanley Cup champions Arizona.
Could you imagine?
Well,
I mean, I don't think I could be mad though.
hockey's already on life support. It'd be dead officially if the fucking Coyotes got a Stanley Cup. God.
Hey, Coyotes are building a team now.
And-
Stop
Hey,
it.
Do
make
not
some
Stop
noise.
it.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare
Make
allow
some
this to
noise.
happen.
And in 10 seconds,
Listen.
David Roscoe will have an angry comment towards me after making that comment about
And
the
he'll say,
He
Coyotes.
probably already has it. He's already saying
Well,
Kopitar to the Ducks.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, I
Before
was
we
gonna
can
say now Oliver Ekman Larson's gonna say to the Ducks now. He's going to pick the one Coyote that's good.
Well, he already said Kopitar to the Ducks after we brought up the Los Angeles Kings.
That ain't never going anywhere. That's never gonna happen.
No.
Maybe if he's like 39 and he's like at the very tail end of his career.
He's not gonna play for Anaheim even if he's 65 in a walker.
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll put up like 2 or 3 goals and really contribute offensively to your team.
He's gonna be 65 playing for the Ducks.
But he's
Slip on the ice and break a hip, and there goes his career.
Well, hold on.
That's it.
Again.
he's
done.
he's European. If there's one thing Yager's taught us, these Europeans don't age.
Well, that's true.
I mean, come on.
That's
let's
true.
be honest.
I'll
here.
give you that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So who knows? Maybe at 65, you guys win a Stanley Cup. And Kopitar is the first guy to get it, and he's got this long white beard just down to his crotch, and he's just holding the cup up right above his head.
I'm going to take this back to Slovenia.
Sounds like something the Flyers are it's gonna happen in Philly.
Yeah, that's real brilliant, considering the fact you say that this
Because you're
team's
gonna
probably
be
gonna
65 when they win their next cup, right? Something along those lines.
Probably
Can we go another
no.
40 years? That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, though. Not if they build the team properly.
Mm.
And so far, they're doing that. So.
For me and Brian's sake, let's hope not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, I just reminded myself of somebody. I'm never doing that again.
All right, then we'll move
Ugh.
on.
All right.
Maddie, what do you got?
Please move on.
Number 8.
Well, before we get into number 8, we have some other comments. Let me jump into those on the YouTube here.
What's Roscoe saying now?
Well, Roscoe also says, "Where will Erik Karlsson will be land?" Which I would assume. Which I would assume he means where will Erik Karlsson
I can tell you that wasn't
land?
autocorrect.
Well, we know it's going to be an American team.
Yeah.
He will
Between
not sign
Vegas
an
and Tampa.
extension with any Canadian team.
Mm.
So we know it's going to be
Ooh.
American.
The Swede doesn't like Canada, huh?
No.
Vancouver tried to climb back into the race, and he turned them down too.
Maybe he just doesn't like free healthcare.
True.
Or Tim Hortons.
That too, possible.
I actually hear their coffee's really good.
That's what I heard as well.
I wouldn't know.
I really
haven't
want to
been
go.
to Toronto
I
yet.
really want to go to Tim Hortons.
Buying a cake.
I do too.
We're still waiting for a response on Wilder to tell us what the
Yeah.
experience is like.
Yeah.
So we have no clue.
Damn it, Wilder. You had one job.
Come on.
Hey, if you ever come by, man, please feel free to bring us over some Tim Hortons. We will be
And
more than
poutine.
appreciative of that. Yeah. Anyway.
Can somebody please go?
All right. So anyway,
I think
Eric-
we broke Brian.
Oh,
love
my
it.
goodness.
not yet. Not yet.
Only 49 minutes into
What?
the show, and I'm broken.
49 minutes into the show, and Joe Thornton still sucks.
Yes, he does.
Meanwhile, Mike's over here hitting his
I'm just
thighs
waiting for
with-
number
with-
8,
with
so I
his
got nothing
head.
else better to do.
Anyway, so with that being said, while Mike's over here playing with the pen, we're going to talk about my number 8.
Oh, my
that
God.
we're
I
on.
just took that the wrong way.
Good. You did exactly what I told you to do.
Oh, jeez. What is going on tonight?
Oh, this is too easy.
Is this
All right.
really? Am I really that bad of an influence on you guys? Like,
Yes, you are.
These other shows are fine, and all of a sudden I come back and all hell breaks loose.
Mm. We're only 50 minutes in and only 3 guys down.
Yeah,
Pretty much. Oh, come on. We needed a show like this.
it's been a while.
Mom, the Eagles are playing. We're off the fucking rails.
Yeah, what an exciting
This is
game
what
that
we
is, too.
want,
Yeah.
right? Anyway,
We're jumping
my
for
number
joy.
8. My number 8 is Frank's number 9, Grant Fuhr. Obviously, all the things you said on top of the fact that
all the things you said, all the things I said, running through your head, running through your head, running through your head.
this
all
is
the-
not a time to be bringing up old WWE themes.
This
as
is not enough.
They were.
Weren't they like
Kinda
the
hot.
only? They were the only like two.
My dad just said the Browns got a safety. I'm
Only in
guessing
the
on the
preseason.
only
Well,
like,
it doesn't matter. It's only preseason.
on the Eagles, I'm assuming.
I don't see a safety.
Browns
yet.
get a safety.
Maybe
I have,
on
I have the stream
themselves.
going.
Who knows? Maybe
It's
they
under
did it on
review.
themselves. But
Well, streams
Yeah,
are usually
no-
like 10
no-
minutes back.
No safety.
anyway, so Grant Fuhr.
Yep, it's a safety.
I have a feeling it was. Go ahead. We can't keep getting sidetracked. We're already
all right,
we're almost an hour in.
All right, my number 8.
Well,
hold on.
Oh, wait.
Well, one thing I will say this: Wayne Gretzky said this about Grant Fuhr. He says, "My goalie is the best goalie I've ever seen." Now, obviously,
You could argue that, but
Biased.
I absolutely
Well,
like Grant Fuhr.
when Wayne Gretzky says that, it's just like, damn, that's nice to hear. Like, seriously.
That's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback, man.
All right, Frank, who's your number 8?
My number 8, a very important influencer in the game. I got Jacques Plante.
Ah, the first man to wear a goalie mask.
Yes.
No, absolutely.
You want to know how he wound up wearing that goalie
Probably
mask?
broke his face.
Yes.
He did.
Actually,
Yep, he stopped a puck with his face, and he literally lost teeth, went into the back, and got a goalie mask, which were those old wooden ones, so
Yeah.
it really wasn't going to do much
The
anyway
Mike
if you
Myers
got hit in the
mask.
face.
Yep.
But the coach was so mad at him, he benched him the following game. He was so pissed at him from wearing a goalie mask because back then, if you wore a goalie mask, you were a pussy back then.
yes, I got to think pucks weren't coming up that high
No.
back then
Well,
either.
yes,
like
there was
they
no
are now,
curve
but-
Yeah.
in the stick blades back then, so it was a little different.
All right, so with Plante, 8-time All-Star, 6-time Stanley Cup winner, 7-time Vezina Trophy winner, and basically one of the toughest goalies ever, and the first is don a mask.
Yep.
And without him, we wouldn't have cool mask designs.
True.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
We owe all of that to that one man.
Oh,
Thank you, Jacques Plante. You were a good man.
Tyrod Taylor got hurt, by the way.
Yep.
So Baker's coming in.
Oh God, Tom's going nuts.
Probably. Absolutely. is.
Okay, so that obviously happened to the Eagles. But anyway,
Yep. Nick Foles slipped, and Miles Garrett touched him in the end zone. So it
Miles
is
Garrett, monster.
just a simple tap on the shoulder,
That's all.
rule to
it is.
safety.
Yep.
Yep.
You're down.
Well, that's the
So
way.
it is
That's the way the
2-0.
league's going.
The Brownies. 5:19 left in the first.
It's
2-0.
okay, it's preseason.
That's okay. It's preseason. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you say? Number 7? Should we go?
Let's go.
Number
yeah.
7.
Number 7. I'm wearing his jersey tonight. Marc-Andre Fleury.
Now get out.
Homer.
No, get out.
Homer.
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 I don't have any Penguins on my list. This is the first week I can't have
Still
a Penguin on
Homer
my list.
because he was a Penguin
He
for a
was.
long time.
Very long time.
People
except
will
for-
remember him for being a Penguin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Winning 3 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Obviously, you know, he's still a great goaltender. He's one of the best last season. I mean, obviously he had the concussion injury, you know, throughout the season, but he still went 29-13, 4 overtime losses, save percentage of .927, and a 2.24 goals allowed per game, which I believe was actually best in the league last year. But just overall, I mean, the flower blossomed
In
for
a
that
sense,
team,
he-
you know. I mean, what helped was that he played with a lot of the same guys that he played with once before in Pittsburgh. So obviously, you know, calling plays and, you know, seeing where men were, he knew where some of those guys were going to be. Obviously, I miss him in Pittsburgh big time. But not much more I could say about the guy. He's just overall great goaltender.
Yeah,
Yep.
but, I mean, honestly, though, you got what you wanted out of him, so I don't think you're going to miss him as much as you think. Because you do have Matt Murray, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry that much.
Yeah, that's fine, Brian. It's okay.
Was that one of your boys?
I have no clue. I don't
Well,
know
I
who it is.
mean, is it? Are you really? Is it really a homer move? I mean, he plays for Vegas now. He's not like he's a. Now, if he can call me a homer because my number 7 is my starting goalie.
Homer.
So you can call me a homer. Call me a homer all you want.
That's kind of funny that we went with our homers at 7.
Well, that's
you guys are
technically not
just-
a homer for you anymore.
Well, it is, but it isn't.
It is, but it is.
I mean, he was only our goaltender for 13 years. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but he's not a Penguin anymore.
true.
Okay, but still.
I both.
So
true.
as
Listen,
stated,
just let us have this goddamn lock and step moment here between you two, please.
me definitely. This is definitely a homer move on my part. I think Jonathan Gibson is, you know, he's still young. Homer, homer, homer. Yes, that would be me. You know, 2.43 goals against average, even though he had a very rocky year last year. 9.26 save percentage. You know, he's seeing a lot of shots. Some better than others. Even with, and they're not really soft, they're just young. Young defense in front of him in Anaheim. Just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a rocky couple of years. I think once that defense gets a little more solid, it'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be back to his old ways. You know, year before, 2.22 goals against. Year before that, 2.07 goals against. We know the quality's there.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting that defense to set in front of him and stop giving up quality chances for him. He's an all-star the last 2 years. He's a Jennings Award winner. Kid's tough as nails. So, you know, he's my number 7.
Absolutely. Brian McNeil, by the way, which team do you like? I gotta know that.
All right, then.
Just a quick question.
So while Brian ponders that,
Mm.
we do have some other comments. Andre again chime in and he says he kind of walked back that earlier comment saying, I know you're all good guys. Walked it back a little bit on that one. And it's like, you can't help being a fan. Like, oh, yeah, that's I know I usually call people Nazis when they don't root for my team.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Whoa.
anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway.
Uh,
And then next
okay.
up, he then goes on to say, do you think Vegas needs a better goalie, or are they all right?
I think for now they're all right.
Yeah, for now they're all right. Obviously, Vegas still has Fleury, and you know Subban on the come up too. I mean, he got to see a couple games this year and he looked pretty good. So, with most of their team still intact, you know, not many things are going to change for the goalies, which is going to benefit them knowing how they play and you know where they're going to be. So,
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think they're going to repeat being the second best team in the
No,
West
I
this
think
year.
there's a lot of things
But,
that went their way last year. I don't
yeah.
think you're going to see it this year.
No, they are definitely going to come down to earth a little bit, but not too far. I don't think.
How far do you think? You think they'll probably be? I'm going to say
Four-
maybe.
well, in the West, I would say at least 4th or 5th. Looking at the standings in the West,
Do you think what division? Do you think they'll be like 3rd in the division, or are you thinking they might try to shoot for a wild card?
I think more towards a 3rd. But I'm also trying to see. No, I would go 2nd.
2nd in the division? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Brian's trying to read something.
I'm trying to see if I angle this right.
Yeah, I see
the
that
message
too.
changes. Brian says New Mexico needs a pro hockey team.
All right, then.
New Mexico needs a lot of things. I
I'm
think a hockey team is not
Definitely
there
not
yet.
the first thing on my list for the state of New Mexico. Maybe a pro soccer team.
Well, how about the Albuquerque Cactus?
Never heard of them.
No, that would be my proposed team name.
Oh.
because
I heard
that would
I can't think of anything else that's in New Mexico, honestly.
Dust.
The Albuquerque Dust.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Hey, I mean, they have. Isn't that where the meteorite struck so many years ago? Was in New Mexico, or was that in Arizona?
I have no clue.
Well,
They,
it's
they have the alien theory in Roswell.
Roswell.
Or-
That the alien ship crashed down in Roswell, New Mexico.
Or you could
Aliens.
get them sued and call
I don't know
them,
why I finger quoted, but
or you know what? You guys can get them sued and call them the left turns at Albuquerque.
I don't get it.
I got it.
I don't know if I want to get it.
I'm not sure I want to get it either.
Do you guys watch any cartoons when you were a kid?
I watched.
Just SpongeBob.
Bugs Bunny
Plenty
comes
of-
out of the rabbit hole. It's like, it looks like I made a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Oh, that one.
I didn't watch
Yeah.
that. when
Okay, I
was
got you. I get it now.
Uncultured.
I
All
just-
right, we're moving on.
I just
All
watched
right.
SpongeBob.
You
I was
uncultured
outside
swine.
playing. I mean, what can I say?
Oh,
Jeez.
God.
All
All right.
right.
Moving on. David Roska saying Andre the Giant. I'm going to assume he's talking about Andre Barroso. Well, that's a good
Is
comment.
that a short joke?
No, I hopefully not. Don't think that's what he meant. I think he meant Andre the Giant as in the great wrestling legend Andre the Giant. He didn't call him CM Punk. So we'll go on that one.
Ooh.
Which is what I was
You
afraid
brought
he
it
was
up.
going to call him. Yeah, he'll probably call him it now because but I will take the hit for that one. That's my fault. I'm the one who brought it up. And then one last thing. Frostin1 says, who's the worst goalie in Penguins history?
I never heard of him.
I'm trying to think of like who was bad goalies that I've seen.
Kenny Reggett was not a good goalie.
I mean,
It wasn't. Flyers traded him to the Penguins.
yeah, I don't know. Got me
I
there.
was going to say Ken Reggett because Reggett
Trying-
was not
Well, who
Tom
was the goalie
Barrasso.
before Fleury?
That's what I'm trying to think. I don't.
Oh,
really know.
God. Who was the goalie before him? Was it Tugnut? No.
No,
it
Tugnut
wasn't.
was late
No,
90s, maybe
yeah.
early 2000s.
That was right before.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, well, then it would have to be.
All right.
Tugnut.
While you look it up, Maddie or Frank can give their number. What number?
Yeah,
are
we
up
are
to?
we are
7.
7. We
Seven?
are crushed on time right now. So
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, let's-
At number
let's-
we got
yeah.
2 to go.
we got
So
2 to
we're
go.
good. So
Let's
at
not get sidetracked.
At 7, I have the one and only Ken Dryden.
Me too.
Cool.
Good. We just killed that.
Two birds with
Two
one
birds
stone.
stone, yeah.
Yeah.
Crushed it. All right. Well, needless to say, all I have to say about Ken Dryden is not only did he invent a stance where he would literally just stand at the other end of the ice and just have his head resting on the top of his paddle, waiting for the other team to come back to try and score on him. Keyword is try. Ken
bored.
literally was playing at Harvard Law School and got drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, and their starting goalie went down. So because their starting goalie went down, Ken Dryden was brought into play literally after he graduated.
That's who I was thinking.
And that rookie year, by the way, won the Stanley Cup. Got brought in to play
Yep.
in that year and won the cup.
And he's the only player to win the Conn Smythe before winning the Rookie of the Year award, and the only goaltender to win both the Conn Smythe and the Stanley Cup before losing a regular season game.
Isn't that crazy?
You know what's crazy is Matt Murray won 2 Stanley Cups as a rookie.
Even though that's really weird how that happened.
Well, it's like Ben Simmons was a rookie 2 years in a row too. So
Yeah, so I mean, anyway.
Hashtag still a rookie.
So
he's gonna be a rookie this year too, probably.
So am I. I'm a rookie. But anyway.
All right.
okay. And on to our
Number 6.
Oh, by the way, Gene Sebastian Albin was the goaltender from 1999 to 2004.
Wow.
But the guy
God,
I was thinking of during one of the reigns, we had Ty Conklin on the team.
Guy
And
Conklin. Oh my
You know what's funny
God.
though? I was gonna say his
Oh
stats
my God,
sucked, but
Ty
then I realized he actually went 18-8-5.
Well, he's more known for when he was on the Oilers for
Yeah.
that short period, and he managed to. He worked with them, and he worked with Dwayne Rolson actually. Dwayne took them all the way to the
Rolson,
Stanley Cup
yeah.
Finals. But anyway,
Dwayne Rollison beat us in Game 7 back in 2007, I think it was. Whatever year the Tampa Bay won the Cup.
04.
Was that no?
It was
Oh,
04.
then
overall
then they
was the
didn't
year
win the
Tampa
Cup.
won. Edmonton won. They went to the Cup Finals the year after the lockout
So
because
06.
Carolina was in the final with
okay.
them.
Was it that long ago? It might have been. I
Yeah,
don't know. I just
it was
remember
it was a
being
while ago.
I remember being in Disney.
Because in the following year, Anaheim beat Ottawa.
yeah.
Yes, they did.
I'm pretty sure Brian's ears
Brian
perked up on
remembers
that one. Yeah.
Anytime anybody mentions 2007 season, it says join. Who said 2007?
Goes from 6 to 12.
Uh,
I'm talking about.
Do you remember, like,
2007.
Hey, listen.
quite.
Let me ask you a question, Brian.
Halfway.
The day that the Ducks won the Cup, do you remember what you had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that day? And just, you remember exactly
Nope. I
what
remember
you
sitting
did?
in my kitchen watching Versus and
Versus, yeah. Remember
sitting
that?
at my kitchen table and just watching them blow out Ottawa in Game 5.
Just like waiting for the time to slowly trickle down because you knew it was coming.
Longest game of my life. And then watching Teemu Selanne raise the cup, I cried.
Well, that
I
is
teared
a
up
tear.
a little bit.
That's a
Yeah.
tearjerker. That is very much a tearjerker.
I was like, you deserve it.
He did. He did
Okay.
deserve it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
My number 6, I'm going with your favorite, Brian Elliott. Just kidding. Sergei Bobrovsky. Yeah, number 6, obviously Columbus is on the rise big time, and big reason why is because of him. 37, 22, and 6 last season. Great save percentage, 921. Goals against definitely has to be worked on a little bit with 242, but it's a team that could score, so, him letting a few slip up, it's okay. But I think that those numbers will definitely go down. They're a better team this year. And, he's been a hell of a goaltender for him the past couple seasons. So that's why I have him at number 6.
All right, then. Brian?
My number 6 is a guy that probably should be in the top 5, but because of how he's been the last couple of years, he's dropped out of my top 5, and that's Carey Price.
Okay.
His inability to stay healthy is really concerning for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Last few years, even last year alone, only played 49 games, which is very
Horrible.
low for him.
Yeah.
With goals against above 3, unheard of on his
It was
part.
like, what, 313 or something like that?
Yep, and however, the year before, he had a 2.23 in 62 starts. It's not that he's lost his step, because I think the step is still there. He just needs to figure out a way to stay healthy and find a way to get back to playing the way he did back in 2014, 2015, in his easily the best goaltender in the league at that year, with goals against under 2 and a save percentage that was well over 9.93.
Yes.
Just, he needs to find a way to get back to that. And,
Yeah, definitely.
there's right now 4 better than him.
It took a lot out of me to not put him on my top 10. But my only reason for doing that is because of look at where he's at. And it's a shame because his stats and everything are going to be horrible again this year because they didn't do shit to make that team any better. And the possibility of losing Pacioretty this season as well, it's only going to make him spiral even more
Well, I think
downhill. So
Well, the addition of Drouin helps. The addition of Max Domi is going to help. But if they lose Max Pacioretty, that team is going
But
to
Domi
wind
already
up being
seems
in
like
full
he's
rebuild.
a bit of a cancer anyway.
But
I
here's
don't think
the
he is.
Here's the other problem though with Montreal. The biggest issue they have is that what killed them in the end was if Carey Price wasn't on the team wasn't able to function properly. And it's like, guys, I know Tokarski is not exactly going to be a mover or shaker in the world of the NHL. No offense to Tokarski, but he's a backup. But you guys could at least play somewhat like you are competent and you're like your NHL pros, and they never do. That team never, when the going gets tough, that team does not get going. They would rather have an easy year, stay competitive in the division, waltz their way into the playoffs, and fuck it up during that time period. Because that's what they do every time. If it's going to be a year they make the playoffs, they are never in a bad spot during the entire year. The moment they get into a competition with someone or they have to compete for anything, they absolutely collapse and they fail.
Yeah.
They've done it routinely. They've done it habitually. This is no surprise why the Montreal Canadiens have only ever gotten as far as the Eastern Conference Finals. That's all I got to say about this team in general. It's like you guys have never put the team together that you need to have to be successful in this league. And that's on you guys because your organization up front failed. It just flat out failed.
Yeah, they won't even sniff the playoffs this year. So
No, and it's kind of a shame for Carey's situation. But, again, he only played in 12 games in 2015, 2016. Again, going to say that the team folds without him.
yeah, just real quick though, if you put him on another team, he's to me top 5.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So it's just
absolutely.
I mean, even in Montreal,
Purely-
he's still the top 5. He just needs to be healthy.
Yeah, a lot of this is health and where they're playing. It's hard to exactly put him on a list considering how bad of a team that he's on. So
Brian McNeil agreeing with us, saying, yeah, that's
I
true.
still need to know who you like. Brian, which team do you like?
You are going to get this out of him.
I
at
have
some
to.
point. Yeah.
That
I
team
have
in New
to.
Mexico.
I mean, maybe he's a Coyotes fan. I don't know if he's saying he wants a team
Or
in
he
New
likes
Mexico.
the Stars,
Hey, man,
or the Avalanche,
Dude, if
or
you're,
the Knights.
if you are a Coyotes fan, then I give you credit.
Yeah.
Bless your
Like,
heart,
seriously,
yes.
that takes a lot of guts to be a Coyotes
I
fan.
thought the Lions had a tortured fan base.
Or the Browns. But anyway,
All right. So my number 6 is your number 9, Bernie Perron.
Bernie, nice.
Barney.
All right. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is the man who invented the butterfly, Glenn Hall.
Okay.
Butterfly. What a great position, by
Yep.
the way.
It was. That's
It-
why Glenn Hall was such a great goalie.
Changed
All right.
so much for goaltenders to bring in the butterfly.
Yes.
Hence Fleury's favorite move.
Yes. Hard to believe that at one point, way back in the 1800s, the late 1800s, goalies were not allowed to go down on their pads.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if goalies were not allowed to do that?
Now they would
Oh, I
just be
didn't need
bad.
to see
It
that.
would be terrible.
They were replaying Carson's injury.
Oh,
I have the stream going. They showed the injury again on
that's not
Fox
fun.
with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck on commentary. Thank goodness I have it on mute.
Seriously.
what a shame.
I know.
Damn.
Joe Buck, the honorary douchebag of every year for
Pretty
every
much.
single sport he announces.
Pretty
for.
much.
All right.
Sucks at.
All right. So with that, we have done our 10 through 6.
About time.
And we will.
We got through it.
We got through it, Frank. Relax. And then when we come back, It'll be 5 through 1, and then we'll see what else is going on around the NHL, and then we will tell you what's going to be next week's show since we are still in the thick of the off season, unfortunately. However, September's on the horizon, so
Yay.
regular season begins soon. With that, we thank you for joining us on Facebook. Feel free to join us on the other side at YouTube. There'll be a link in the comments section for you to click on, so please feel free to make the jump right on over. If you're on YouTube, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And this was all brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public counsel, located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You can give them a call, 215-369-3300. Listen, guys, taxes are not fun, and if you get audited, you are fucked big time. So do yourself a favor. Be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer. This is the Hockey Happy Hour at a2dradio.com. Thank you to all on Facebook, and please join us on the other side. And if you're on YouTube, we will be right back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the Real Talk Studios right here in Manny from New Jersey. I'm Matt Sestudi. That is Mikey. I love Penguins. Clank off.
That's me.
Over here is the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What up?
And behind the board is Mr. Frank Vespi this evening.
Hey.
Again. Did it again. Oh, that mic is just killing him today. Poor Frank. Poor Frank. Oh, all right. So, we were jumping through our top 10 goalies. We've got through 10 through 6, and now we're going to go through 5 through 1. And that is brought to you by Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com.
Hey, yo.
Oh, it worked.
There
that
we go.
time. There
There it
go.
is.
Hey.
As my eardrums are bleeding.
Yes. All right. So, gentlemen, are you ready to go into your top 5? Have you thought it through? No more alterations? All right, then. Mikey, proceed.
Number 5, I'm going with Tukey. Going Tuukka Rask of, sadly, the Boston Bruins. He went 34-14-5 last season with a .917 save percentage and a 2.36 goals allowed. Nothing much more to say about the guy except that he's phenomenal. It's just, I don't know. I really, he's just such a good goaltender. It's just I hate the city of Boston so much that, like, I don't even want to talk about him. But overall, I mean, he's such a great goaltender. He could definitely be higher, but there's a few guys that I see that are just better pure goaltenders. And
Very interested in that.
yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely interested in who you have
You'll
above
see.
him.
You'll see.
All right, then. So we go from Tuukka to who?
Oddly enough, the guy he's wearing on his sweater, Marc-Andre Fleury, is my number 5.
Wow.
Homer.
Homer move. At 33 years old, this guy had the best season of his career.
It's a shame it wasn't with Pittsburgh.
Ironically, it wasn't with Pittsburgh. So the guy had a 9.27 goals against. Best in his career. 2.24 goals against. Best in his career. Played with a very solid defense in front of him. He finished 5th in the Vezina voting. He's one of those guys. Like, yeah, he had some injuries early, but he overcame them, came back, had 46 starts throughout the entire year. 29-13 was his record. But, he took that whole situation in Vegas and was a part of that team that took all that on their back and tried to bring some positivity, some happiness, some joy to the city of Vegas after this tragic shooting.
True,
before the season started. So, phenomenal year. He's had a phenomenal career. I think, personally, he's the 5th best goalie in the league going into this year.
And it's also crazy that he was 3 wins away from being the first goalie in quite some time to win 3 straight Stanley Cups, actually, oddly enough.
Yep.
That would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I know Brian would have hated it, but god damn it, I would have loved it.
I would have jumped off the bridge.
Like I said, the Golden Knights are officially the New Jersey Devils of the West.
Devils West.
The team that no one can fucking stand and would wish would just piss off a fucking rope.
And they just started last year.
And they just started. Unfortunately, the Devils have been a plight on the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference for quite some fucking time. But anyway.
Yep.
So, with that, we go on to the historical side like we always do. Number
right.
5. Do you want to start, Frank, or do you want me to start it?
Well, my number 5 is your number 6, so Glenn Hall.
All right, so Glenn Hall.
But before we go on to your top 4, does your top 4 involve these 4 by any chance in no particular order?
I feel like the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be much of a analyst for. Oh, sorry. Hockey there.
Soccer.
Oh, no, we killed Brian.
That's all right. Just apply for workman's comp. Tom will give you that.
Does he?
I don't know. Actually, I've never actually tried to fake a work injury, so I have no clue.
But it does involve
with paper.
But it does involve those 4, right?
It does. I don't think
but
I'd be
in
much
different
of an
order.
analyst.
But in a different order.
Possibly.
All
Yeah,
right.
I believe so.
Okay.
So with that, yours was that. Mine
Mine is Glenn Hall. Your 5
is Jacques Plante.
Ah.
Yes. I honestly, the goalie mask alone, he should be in the top 5 for the simple fact of, let's just consider this. Imagine if no one played with a mask nowadays. Somebody had to have the balls to say, you know what, I just got hit in the face with a puck, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I want to wear a mask. Fuck you, coach.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wearing a fucking mask. Of course, he would do it in French. I don't know how to say that in French. If anyone knows,
you.
yeah. If anyone out there speaks French or French Canadian, if there are different, please feel free to fill me in on how to say that "fuck you, coach" in French. I would love to know that. So that way I could say it to an actual
Google
coach I
Translate.
would have.
Or you could be like Ken Giles and just say it in English to
right.
your manager as he's coming to take you out of the ball game.
You could do that.
Very true.
Best of both
Let's
worlds.
see.
Everybody
French
can
swear
understand it.
words and curse words with English translation.
Okay, go right ahead there,
All
Frank.
right,
You-
let's
Frank's
see.
got it.
I got to be sure. All right. Apparently the F word is putain.
Putain.
Putain. Va te faire foutre. And then go F yourself is va te faire enculer.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
Wow.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So are you saying like puta, like you would say bitch in Spanish?
Nope. In French, a bitch or a slut is salope.
Salope.
So basically slop.
Pretty much.
All right.
And if you don't give a flying, well, whatever, it'll be j'en ai plus rien à foutre. I don't give a flying blank.
Sweet.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
digging it.
Just say what it is. Fuck.
Yeah.
But anyway.
French.
I know how to say it in American, so that's all that
That is all that matters.
Or
Yes.
excuse me, English.
No, American, because they're different. Let's be honest here. We don't speak the Queen's English over
True.
here.
True.
We speak American. All right. On to number 4.
This is why, as a nation, we are frowned upon.
Yes.
Yes,
big
this
time.
is.
Absolutely.
On linguistics alone. But anyway.
Number
Yes.
4, I'm going Mr. Jonathan Quick.
Okay.
You know, to me, I know you had him low. I have him a little higher. But
Little.
to me, I mean, Jonathan Quick he's just that goaltender. I mean, yeah, his save percentage was great. His goals allowed, obviously a little high at the 2.4. But, you know, when I have other goalies that are actually higher than him, they have all of them except for one has higher goals allowed per game. So, and we still viewed him as better goaltenders. But Jonathan Quick, to me, is still one of the top goaltenders. It's a shame that the team around him isn't as good as what they were when they won the 2 cups. But he's still got it to be. So that's why I have him at number 4.
Oh, I had no question about whether or not he still has it. I'm just
Yeah.
very concerned about that team that's
I
going to be
know.
playing in front of
I know.
him. My number 4 is your number 5 with Tuukka.
I'm just thinking of bird like Tuki Tuki.
Ugh, I hate Tuukka Rask.
This guy has
Anyway.
had a phenomenal career,
Yes.
and he just keeps going. Going into age 31 this season, and he's showing no signs of slowing down whatsoever. Boston showing that, yeah, we can trade some guys away, but we're going to bring some guys back that can play well in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I love about Tuukka is that the one thing that I do love about him is that if he never wins a cup that he earns with Boston, he will still have a ring because he got to sit on the bench and watch Tim Thomas do it for him. I was like,
Yeah, that was what, 2010, 2011 season?
2011, yeah.
Played 29 games that year.
Still, though, he got to sit on the bench and let Tim Thomas win the cup for him so he can actually walk away from Boston without winning a cup, piss off every fan there, be like, what the fuck, Tuukka? Never got us our Stanley Cup. Can't say it in the Boston accent, unfortunately, but still.
Fucking habit.
But still.
Phenomenal numbers. He's got a phenomenal defense playing in front of him, so
Yeah.
it helps him make it
Oh,
look very, very
absolutely.
simple.
And he could still walk away with a cup ring without having to earn one. That's the life.
With the career 2.26 goals against.
That's phenomenal.
That is pretty
That is a
damn good.
phenomenal number.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, on to my number 4. And my number 4 is Mr. Terry Sawchuk.
Same here.
All right, so we got Terry Sawchuk on that side right there. There's not much really to say besides just phenomenal. The man changed he was another revolutionary goalie, like Glenn Hall. Could not be scored on, no matter how hard you tried. And there were some talented people back in the league, but if you had Terry Sawchuk in your net, you're just like, fuck it. Who cares? Just give us the L. We ain't going to fucking score on this guy.
Yeah, he's one of those goalies where you just, as soon as you just saw who you were playing in the schedule, you're just kind of like,
Damn.
fuck it.
It's like, hey,
Do we have to play?
yeah.
Are you sure?
You know the funny
You're
part?
sure? We can't just forfeit? All right, fine.
Funny part is he actually wound up playing at the very tail end of his career for the Los Angeles Kings, actually. They convinced him not to retire and for him to get picked in the expansion draft, actually. So, hey, there you go. He got to be
Pretty much.
He got to be the
Yep.
first goalie to wear the purple and gold for the
Ugh.
Los Angeles Kings.
You know, when I played as the Kings in NHL, I would use that jersey.
Yo, you're gross.
The yellow one.
Ugh.
Oh, come on. What's wrong with
Wow.
those?
Those,
Black and silver
Oh.
Kings are the best looking.
Oh,
of the
definitely.
bunch.
agreed.
Yeah.
What?
But it's
No,
just
that-
the Kings in general.
hold
that
on.
or the Burger King jerseys, I would definitely play.
Oh, I hate the Burger King
What?
jerseys.
Well, wait a minute. What about that blue and silver and black era that they had going on there?
Blue, silver, and black?
Remember,
Yeah.
right before they changed their colors back to silver
Yeah,
and
that's
black?
Oh, the
right.
purple.
The purple.
Yeah, the purple,
Yeah.
not
black.
blue, but
Yeah.
still. I'm
Ugh,
colorblind.
I always digged when Buffalo was the black and red.
They should have
Oh, with the
stuck to
buffalo
that.
head?
Oh,
yeah.
Goat Face, my favorite.
they should have
My
stuck
least
to that.
favorite of the Sabres logo.
They really should have. They got the
Actually,
along
my
with
favorite.
when you
along
cut
with
that.
Buffa Slug. I don't like that one.
But yeah, Buffa Slug was.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty badass, those jerseys, though.
I mean,
I love
those
those
jerseys,
jerseys.
they should have stuck to them. They were more successful with them,
Yeah.
honestly. This blue and yellow shit is not working
No,
out for
it's
them
not working
ever.
at all.
It never does.
But it's your typical Buffalo Sabres. That's of the image of the Sabres that I have. It's either Goat Face, but blue and gold. It's Sabres.
well, then,
It's
Yeah, what they
historical
have
Sabres.
now is that's
It's
that's
doable.
it.
well, you know
Yeah.
what you do?
I
You-
like it.
You get the
Yeah.
best of both worlds. You get the Buffalo Slug back, and then at the same time, you make it blue and yellow. So that way, it's like, there we go, best of both worlds, right? We got the cool logo that actually makes us not look like pussies out there on the ice. Because let's be honest, that logo looks like shit.
Yeah.
That's a shitty logo.
Just looks like a circle with a bunch of lines in it.
What is a saber anyway?
Yeah, what's a saber?
Oh, is that?
Here's a flyer.
I see what you did there.
Uh-huh. Well,
All right, maybe I should get to number 3 before I get killed.
What the hell's a penguin? A bird that can't fly?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Chill, us and ostriches, okay?
All right, go on.
Dogs fly together.
Number 3, I have the Stanley Cup winning goaltender Braden Holtby. I mean, this kid, ever since he came into the league in that one playoff series, I mean, he's been absolutely lights out. Every year, he's just one of the top goaltenders, and you know, it's a guy that you don't want to face. I mean, obviously the Penguins got to the best of him 2 seasons ago. This year he got the best of us. But, I mean, this is also a guy that was benched. What are you looking at?
Couple games in the playoffs.
The fact that Ovechkin still also has a Stanley Cup before the Flyers
No,
got
no,
one
no,
in
no, no.
45
That's
years.
not it at all. I just remember a conversation you had a long time back, right after a fantasy dominance that used to be on
What, that
A2.
Brady
Wow.
Holtby sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that conversation,
remember
and
that too.
I thought that's like, that's kind of funny now looking at that.
Well, sometimes you wake up and realize the truth, and this is the truth because he is a pretty goddamn good goaltender.
Yeah, when he
And,
first came up, he was a little shaky, but
Yeah.
he's showing.
Well, I was saying that because of the fact that every time they would make it to the playoffs, that they would just lose, and a lot of it had to do with him because they were scoring, but he wasn't saving anything. So, but obviously now that he's a Stanley Cup winner, which sucks. Last season he went 34-16-4, save percentage one of the worst among top goaltenders with a .907, and goals allowed was one of the worst among top goaltenders with a .299. So, I mean, obviously things that he has to work on, but those numbers are going to be better this season, even though I don't think the team is still going to be the same team. I think they're going to, decline just a little bit. I don't think they're going to decline too much, but they will a little bit, considering the fact that they kept John Carlson, which I thought was
It's
actually
a phenomenal move on their part.
and they're bringing back Brooks Orpik for a fifth of what they were paying him before.
And he's still a piece of
He
shit.
still sucks asshole. Yes. But yeah, I mean, not much more to say except for Braden Holtby's one of the best in the league. So it's a shame that neck beard is powerful.
I don't know. Ralphie's neck beard.
No. There's a difference between Ralph's
hey,
and
he's
Braden Holtby.
producing
He's
the show
producing
next
next
week.
week.
Be nice. No, don't.
Okay. Ralph's.
You can argue with Ralph next week
We want to actually be live on the air next week.
and alive for the following week.
Well, the alive part's different, but the live part is.
Holtby's beard extends all the way down into his chest.
It's part of his chest
That's
hair.
pretty
If I let
fierce.
mine grow, mine could
It's
do that.
warmth.
It's pretty fierce.
It's
I
part of his
don't know how
chest.
much I like it.
It's-
But yeah, Braden Holtby, number 3.
All right, then.
My number 3 is, I forget where you put him, is Connor Hellebuck.
I have him at 10, yeah.
24 years old, had the best season of, in my opinion, one of the best seasons of any goalie in the league last year. 44 wins, like we stated earlier in the show. .924 save percentage, 2.36 goals against, and the kid is only turning 25.
I know.
He has a long way to go, so that kind of I understand why you put him a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But if we're going right now based off of stats from last year,
Well, if we were going off of stats of last year, I'd probably have him at number 1.
he still wouldn't be my number 1.
1 or 2 at least.
You
But,
finished second in Vezina Trophy voting. He was an All-Star this year.
Yeah.
He had a phenomenal season, and I think he's going to build off it because I think Winnipeg only got better, and I think they're only going to get better. They're on the way up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
And now you don't have Steve Mason behind him.
like that made a difference. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, it really didn't. He played 67 games last year,
Yeah.
so it really didn't make a difference. But now this is his team, and he can run with it.
It's funny.
All right.
What is going on?
what is-
Why are you guys
I don't know.
leaving me out of this?
No, I just think
See
it's
what
funny
happens when you
because
miss
it's
a
like
show for a month?
it's just that another Flyers player like almost had a chance at another cup. I just laughed when Jeff Carter and Mike Richards and all those guys win cups after they leave the Flyers.
Rod Brindamore, Mark Recchi.
All right, well, to be fair, though, Rod Brindamore slept with Erica Lindros' wife. That's what got him kicked out of Philly. But that's a different story. Anyway.
I guess it benefited him because he won a cup and he still slept with his wife.
Yeah.
Win-win.
It's seriously a win-win for Rod. Rod's like, worth it.
What I think is so sad, too, I think that was like the same year that Lindros got that injury that he never fully recovered from, too. It's like, that was just a shitty year for him altogether. Anyway, goes to show, karma's a bitch when you play like an asshole. And Lindros would play like an asshole back in the day. But anyway. So, Frank, you're number 3.
All right, my number 3. This goaltender comes from the land of Skoda automobiles, Martina Navratilova, and sexy mullets in Jaromir Jagr, Dominik Hasek.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't sure where you're going with that. I was like, wait, check?
Yes.
Sorry, that was funny.
Wait, can I predict Maddie's number 3?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, did you say everything you had to say about him? I don't want to cut you off.
Well, he did say sexy mullet. I think he did.
Dominik Hasek, a great European goalie. Wish he would have. He could have been my number 2, but because he started his career at the age of 27 and continued to dominate, it's really outstanding. But had he began a little bit younger, he would have overtaken 2.
Like what much more could he have done? You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Well, also,
The master of the fish flop save. Luckiest goalie to ever play the game.
and to also give credit to him as well, it's not really his fault that he had to wait till 2002 to get his name on the cup.
Yeah.
Because he was on the Buffalo Sabres. And even though the Sabres had a good team, they never could get the Stanley Cup, no matter how good they played.
Yeah.
Because there was always a team that was better than them. Every single time. Between them going to the Eastern Conference Finals and losing almost all the time, and between them getting to the Stanley Cup Finals and the infamous crease goal that was scored by Brett Hull, which really Hasek could have saved if he wasn't down in the butterfly. And even Hasek's going on to say, Hull never interrupted me. He never impeded me. So at the end of the day, by today's standards, it still would have been a goal. So it's a moot point nowadays for any Buffalo fan to bring that up as a complaint. Probably wouldn't have won anyway. So, and he's also my number 3. But anyway, so
Wow.
Damn it.
He's
I'm wrong then.
Who were you gonna say?
I won't say it because he's. I mean, in my eyes, he's.
All right.
Top
We'll go back.
He's
All
top.
right.
He's top 2.
All right, so
if
go
he's
to-
not your 3.
Go
All
to
right,
your number 2.
You're number 2.
My number 2. I'm going with the youngster in Tampa. I'm going Andrei Vasilevsky. Last season went 44, 17, and 3 with a .920 save percentage and a 2.62 goals allowed. Yeah, it was definitely a toss-up between my 1 and 2. I had to put him at 2. Yeah, youth is definitely going to move number 1 out big time for me. After this season, but he's a great goaltender. He showed his stock just a couple seasons ago when it was Pittsburgh and Tampa in the Eastern Conference Finals when he came in and just scared the shit out of me. I can tell you that. When Ben Bishop went down, he's overall he's been probably he has been one of the best goaltenders in the those 2 seasons that he's taken over basically full time now.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much more. I think eventually he will be next season might be the best goaltender in the league.
I still need to see a little more from him.
Yeah.
Personally, for him to break my top 10, his goals against is a little high for my
Yeah.
liking. But I see where you're coming from. He's still very young. He still has a lot to learn. He's on the up, and now that he has the reins in Tampa Bay, he's going to be the only one stopping himself from being a top tier goalie. But I totally get your point. I see. Totally.
And just
what
look
you're
at the
saying.
team around him. I mean, it's just there is no reason for Tampa Bay to lose this season.
There's really
There was no reason
why.
for them to lose
this
last year.
season,
Yeah, I
too.
mean,
it's
honestly.
just like it's crazy. They're such a powerhouse. It's just
And they're still finding money to sign people to long-term
and
deals.
they're
Where
like
the
I said, and
fuck
they're
you
looking to
getting
get
it all?
Carlson too. It's
Let's-
like how
Let me put it to you this way, guys. I'm pretty sure Tampa's probably going to win the Cup next year.
Well, we say that every
we said
year.
that this year too. Yeah.
Yeah, but, well, I don't know. There was a couple people in this room who were talking about Washington. It wasn't me, but it was somebody else. Like,
I didn't say
you?
Washington. I thought the Jets. I thought the Jets all
you
year.
thought the Jets, but
I was
you
sticking with my
kinda-
guns
you
to-
were, you were thinking
yeah.
you were thinking it though.
I was thinking. Well, I definitely when we were talking about the Penguins and Capitals series, I told you that this year is going to change because I didn't see it in the Penguins team to be able to beat the Capitals this year, and it was,
Yeah.
that was just being straight up. I was worried against you guys, and Jesus Christ, did they almost make that a whole series?
yeah.
They did make it a series. It went 6 games.
At the very tail end, yeah. Flyers
so
woke up and realized, oh shit, we're actually
we
playing
actually
in the
can
playoffs.
we can win a series. Like,
Yeah.
so
All right.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is Sergei Bobrovsky. He's just been phenomenal since going over to Columbus. He's a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner. Believe it or not. Goals again. He let up a little too many goals last year. He had 2.42, which is a little high, but he was up there in shutouts with 5. 37-22. Columbus went through a rough spot where they just couldn't score goals for him, and it kind of just hurt him a little bit. That's why I tried not too much to pay attention to the win-loss. But, plenty of quality starts. He had 38 quality starts last year. So
yeah, I mean he's absolutely phenomenal, and it's like it was just hard for me to put him above the guys that I just talked
and
about.
he's right getting into his prime too. So
Yeah.
he's going to be 30 this year.
Yeah,
He's
Columbus, like I said, is going to be a lot better. They're
Yeah.
definitely
they're one of the better defensive teams in the league.
they're definitely a team that could win in the Metro this year.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
Definitely.
probably going to take one of the spots in the
Yeah.
Metro. I can guarantee it. Who knows? If that team plays as well as they should and Bobrovsky's playing well, I could see them going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they go to the Cup Finals, but I could tell you right now they'll go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. I can guarantee it. So, on to my number 2.
All right. Am I thinking what you're thinking for your
Probably.
number 2? Because
Go-
I might think it's the same one. So we should just say it at the same time.
Nope, you go right ahead.
No. I think I know what your number 2 is.
Do you?
I do.
Go ahead, tell me.
All right. We should just say it at the same time.
No,
Please.
no.
Please, it'd be awesome. 1, 2, 3.
Wait,
For the love of God, somebody just fucking say it.
Just say it, Frank.
Martin Brodeur.
that's what I was gonna say.
Nope.
Really? I thought because of the rivalry, you would have him at 2.
That's why I thought that's what I was gonna say for 3 because I was gonna say that he wouldn't want him.
So
to be
your number
two.
2 is probably my number 1 then.
Yup.
Oh,
Patrick Waugh.
wow.
And here's the reason why. Yes, Waugh does have the advantage of saying, I beat him in a series, and he did. He also has more rings than him, and he does. However, all of Waugh's records, at least 90% of them, who replaced him in those categories?
Martin Brodeur.
Brodeur. Also, who is the reason why the New Jersey Devils still exist as a franchise?
Martin
Martin
Brodeur.
Brodeur.
Marty Brodeur. Who is the guy who will probably be the first official New Jersey Devil in the Hall of Fame?
Martin Brodeur.
Marty
It's
Brodeur.
only that's only a matter of time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make a case for either one of these guys to be the best
Exactly.
Yeah.
of all time. It really is a debate. It's just who do you like more at this point.
I mean, honestly, though,
I mean, Marty has all the records. Yeah, Patrick Waugh's won more cups, but
Patrick set the records first.
he
Yeah.
did. But again, though,
Marty came back and broke them.
Yeah.
Marty broke all of them. And at the end of the day, Marty did it faster than Patrick set them because Waugh played a lot longer than Brodeur did. And Brodeur still broke all those records at the end of the day.
What was it? 643 or something like that.
It was something like that. It was something around that range. It was a ridiculous number. But nonetheless, though, Brodeur, at the end of the day, and here's what happened. If the Devils, which is basically what happened. The Devils, they collapsed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What happened was, after that piece of shit Scott Stevens, thank God, left the NHL, and Scott Niedermayer went to Anaheim, that team eventually, even though it did have solid players still on it, they had gotten Zach Parise. They still had guys like, what's his fucking name?
Patrick Elias.
Patrick Elias, and they had Peter Sikora still, and they had what is his name? Not Scott Gomez. It was the other American on the team. Gianta, thank you.
Gianta.
Why the fuck did I forget him? Anyway, I hated his guts too. Anyway, but
Little Brian Gianta.
they still had a very solid team,
yeah.
so it didn't immediately decline, but you could tell it was declining, and you could tell that it wasn't going to be as good without those major pieces to their team. And it all started with the fact that they didn't have a solid enough team to perform the trap anymore. If they still did, that team could probably have won another Stanley Cup, but that team did not continue. If left after a while, and that was the end of it. That's what I have to say, though, about Waugh is Waugh left the Montreal Canadiens on purpose because he had a problem with the front office and the coach, and he said, fuck you, I'm going to Colorado. And he did. And it took him a minute, but he wound up getting a cup with them twice.
Yep.
Imagine if he had stayed on that team. Probably would have won another cup or two. Probably would have. So at the end of the day, those two are still even. At the end of the day, neck and neck. They would have wound up with 4 rings if Brodeur's team had not slowly declined while he was still in net.
I'm with you.
Because that's the way I look at it. I mean, in 2010, I was very happy to see the Flyers beat them, but it was not the same team that the Flyers had faced in the early 2000s or in the 90s. Completely different team by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nucleus was aging.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big time. So definitely.
With that being said, that is why I have Waugh at 2 and I have Brodeur at 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anyone to say that I'm a biased son of a bitch. I hate the fucking New Jersey Devils.
believe
but
me.
I put Brodeur at 1 because I have respect for Brodeur and what he did and have all the things he accomplished. I can respect a Brodeur.
Yeah.
I can respect a Scott Niedermayer. It's the fucking people like Claude Lemieux and
Scott Stevens.
I can't respect those guys.
That's
and
why
I never will.
When you said 3, that's why I was going to go with Brodeur for you.
Yeah.
Because of your biased hate towards
I
towards
hate
the
them.
Devils.
I
so.
hate them so fucking much, but I have to call it what it is. Call spade a spade. Brodeur is the reason why the Devils managed to get 3 Stanley Cups and are still a relevant franchise today, and they're still in the league because of him. Because let's be honest, if that team doesn't get Brodeur, That team never wins a Stanley Cup, and that team leaves New Jersey eventually.
Probably end
to
up in
go-
probably Saskatoon or Kansas City.
Or maybe we would have
They
had
were
the-
in Kansas City, but
or maybe we've had the Golden Knights how many years earlier than that?
or
you know,
Nashville.
or Nashville. We would have had the Predators
That's-
earlier than
yeah.
we did. You know, so that's all.
That's
I got
where
to say
they were
about
supposed
that,
to.
you know?
That's where they were supposed to go if the Devils hadn't succeeded in New Jersey once they moved. They would have moved right down to Nashville, probably become the Predators or some other weird team because the 90s. But yeah, without Brodeur, it's like, well, we have a
always-
team to hate on.
But there's always going to be that one player that
It's that
winds
one
up
player.
in every franchise that saves the franchise and
Mm-hmm.
builds them up. And
Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh was getting ready to be sold.
Yeah.
They drafted Sidney Crosby
mean-
and Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah,
Flyers would have been a flop if
Versus
Bobby
history.
Clark hadn't been drafted. So
You can say that. Yeah, I mean, you can really say that about any
Yeah.
franchise. But
Exactly. It's crazy.
no Paul
I mean-
Carey, Timo Solani for Anaheim.
yeah,
right.
I mean,
So those guys made the franchise known. Like,
the Islanders.
look at
Now
Atlanta.
there's that core.
That entire core that won those 4 Stanley Cups.
Look at the Atlanta Thrashers. Another prime example of this comment. They never really had that huge franchise player. They had Ilya Kovalchuk for a little bit, but after he left Atlanta,
Right.
who did they have?
Vashislav Kozlov for like a year.
Maybe a year.
Danny Heatley for a year.
The fucking all-star.
Yeah.
Wasn't didn't
Yeah, I remember those
Dust,
videos.
No, who was it?
The
I'm a fucking all-star.
Wasn't it Vander Kane on
Yes,
all
he
those
was.
squads?
He was part of Atlanta.
For like a
I
year.
believe Blake Wheeler was
Blake Wheeler, he was,
drafted probably one of the last 2 seasons that they were in Atlanta.
and then also they had Dustin Bufflin for a short
That's
period
right.
of time before they became the Winnipeg Jets. as
Zach
well.
Bogosian.
Zach Bogosian, who's a piece of shit.
Yeah, they
Jeez.
drafted Evander Kane, and then shortly after that, they went from Atlanta to Winnipeg. Then he went to Buffalo,
Yeah.
and then Buffalo
Andrew-
sent him to San Jose.
Here's
Andrew
another weird
Ladd,
thing.
Chris Chelios, Mark Recchi, they were both on those
Those
teams.
guys are at the end of their careers,
Yeah.
like Chelios and Recchi, so you can't really say that they're guys
Right.
that are going to save a franchise.
You know who else Atlanta had?
Wow.
They had Rich Peverly at one point.
Marion Hossa, Mark Savard, Patrick
Yeah.
Steffen.
To be fair, though, Mark
again, none
Savard
of
was
those
at the end of
guys
his
are-
rope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then who was the other one you just said?
Patrick Steffen.
Before Patrick Steffen, before
Hossa.
Mark Savard. Marion Hossa.
Marion Hossa.
He was another guy. He,
was
didn't
part
last
of the
long in
trade.
Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, he was part of the trade that brought him to Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and sent Colby Armstrong over there.
That was such a you fleeced the shit out of Atlanta in
You
that
did.
trade. Honestly,
But again, my point, Atlanta never had that player. When they finally had that player, poof, they
Too
were
late.
gone.
I mean,
Which is why that team folded.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even Arizona's had guys that
they've had Timo Solani, they had Tocchet, they had Jeremy Roenick, and they had Cabby Bolin at one point as their goalie.
I mean, technically they never had Solani, but
Well,
point
all right,
being-
never mind. I'm wrong. The
never
Jets
happened.
had him.
the Jets had him. I said technically. But they've had guys like Shane Doan, who's a franchise saver.
Right.
They have guys like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who could save that franchise,
Ilya
keep that
Bryzgalov.
franchise in.
Yeah.
Ilya Bryzgalov, Mike Smith, like they've had guys. They're getting guys. They just brought in Derek Stepan
Well, and they
Oh,
brought
last
in,
year. They
Galchenyuk.
brought in
Plus also-
Galchenyuk this past offseason. Like they're bringing in people. They can bring in guys.
Yeah.
We also can't forget Shane Doan, who's been like one of their major
Yeah.
focal points
Yeah.
for how
Yeah,
long.
and they're retiring his
19
number this
years,
year.
right?
Yeah. I mean, Colorado, you have Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg and the rest of them. Although they were another team that moved, but if they don't have those guys,
Right.
that move is not a smart move.
Yeah, it's. I
At
mean,
the
like
end
I
of the
said, it's
day.
any
Yeah.
franchise. You know, you can think of players on any team. Pavel Bure for Vancouver. Like, who were the Canucks at that point? No
Harold
one knew,
S-
but they
Harold
had Pavel Bure.
Snaps.
Yeah.
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 Pavel Bure, Mark Messier, Alexander McGillney. Those guys helped
The Sedin twins.
rebuild the Sedin twins.
Yeah.
You know, new
Luongo.
age guys. Yeah, like those guys really like helped build that franchise back up.
For the Florida Panthers, it would be guys like Jay Beemeister and
Van Beesbrook.
Van
Beesbrook, Scott
and
Mellenby,
Scott Mellenby, you know.
Ed Jovanovski, like
Jovanovski,
those guys.
yeah, who also played on Phoenix, I do believe, actually.
Yes, he did
oddly
for a little
enough.
bit. He played for a couple teams towards the end of his career, but
Yeah, but and Tampa had, Saint Louis and Vinny LeCavier. You know,
And before that, Dino Ciccarelli.
Dino Ciccarelli, yeah.
So, I mean, they had guys. Like, every franchise, you can name a guy who's been that guy. So, I mean, the only one you can think of is the one that doesn't exist anymore, and that's Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, even now, Winnipeg has their guys, too. I mean, they have Hellebuck, and they have Lane. And
Blake
Game
Wheeler.
changer.
Yeah. I mean,
Mark Scheifele. All guys that they've drafted.
Yeah. I mean, hell, after that, look at San Jose. San Jose kind of floundered a little bit. No one really knew what their identity was, but they got guys like Owen Nolan, who is a very few people remember him. He was
Mike Reese.
phenomenal.
They had
Mike
Timu
Reese.
Slani for a little while.
Timu was on there for a
Evgeny
period of time.
Nabokov.
Then they got Nabokov, and they got Joe Thornton from Boston. Yes, I know he sucks.
Drafted Joe
least favorite
Pavelski.
And they got Joe Pavelski, yes.
Patrick Marleau.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, you know, point proven here.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what
it takes.
That's what Marty Brodeur was.
So
for
all it
the
takes is
New
one
Jersey
guy to build a
Devils.
franchise.
And you know what? I will say that's why Brodeur is another reason why he has to be number one. He basically saved and
them.
made a franchise, whereas Wah, he was already on an established
Dynasty,
dynasty with Montreal, and he went to another team that had already kind of established their identity. They were just missing a goalie, and once he got there, they finally found their goalie. No offense to T-Bolt, but he wasn't going to get the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado, you know, Patrick Waugh joins Colorado when they already have Adam Foote, Adam Deadmarsh, Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, Sandis Ozolinsh, Valerie Kamensky. Like, those guys were already there at that point.
Yeah.
So it only benefited him.
At the end of the day, it was only a matter of time before they would win a cup.
Right.
At the end of the day, so but that is my number one.
I want to
and
know
my
who
number two.
you have number one.
I want to know who you have number one.
Well, number one is, for me, we talked about him earlier, is your number 9 was Pika Rinne.
Oh, wow.
I mean, last season, I know it's tough. Yeah, he's going to be what? What?
No, I was just laughing because I was surprised. I was surprised by that.
I saw that.
What? That I have him at 1?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I thought it was something else.
Only because of the fact that his performance has been fine. It's just that I don't see him currently as the number one goalie in the NHL.
Well,
that's just me, though.
Look at the last 3 years that he's played. Look at what he did last season. Went 42, 13, and 5. Only allowed 134 goals throughout the whole season, which is freaking crazy. 920 save percentage and a 231 goals allowed. I mean, to me, he's lights out. He's a big, solid goaltender. Yes, he's getting up there in age, but if he's still playing that way, to me, he's still the best goalie in the league. I mean, overall, like I said about Vasilevsky, guys like Braden Holtby, they're gonna jump him within this season. You know, just right now in my eyes, I see that Pika Rinne is the number one goaltender in the league, and he has been for the last couple of years. He's won a Vezina in the last couple of years too. So I mean, it's just he's there. 13 losses, it's pretty fucking good. I mean,
again, that's
not much has changed with the team around him either. So I
not
mean,
in the last couple of years, but even before that, when the franchise was just really starting to get going, and they started to become Smashville.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew who he was, even though he was still putting up those great numbers. Nobody cared. You know, everyone cares now because they're starting to notice Pekka because of how good the team is getting. And how good they are now.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been good for a long time. It's just now his last couple seasons they've built around him better.
Absolutely.
Which is why he's a better goaltender, and to me, just
his age is
his age hurts a lot, and which is why I could tell you now he won't be here next season as my number one, but right now what I see and what I've seen from the past couple of years is my bias towards him being number one.
He's a phenomenal goalie. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but his 36 years old. It scares me to put him at number one. Put him inside the top 10 or inside the top 5.
That's fine. We'll discuss this halfway through the season and we'll see if I fucked up. So
hey, that's fine. We can do that.
Who knows?
I kind of figured out after looking at my list who your number one has to be.
Who's my number one?
Braden Holtby.
Yeah. He has to be. I'm sorry. He coming off a beyond fantastic year last year. 207 goals against. Yeah, his numbers are a little shaky, but when it mattered, Barry Trotz set him down, said, hey, listen, you're going to take a couple days, take a couple games off, relax, find your center. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals, he came back, and that was Braden Holtby of last season.
Yeah, they didn't lose a game in the rest of that series.
They didn't lose a game in the rest of the series. I think they lost maybe a couple games here and there. But you saw Braden Holtby being Braden Holtby.
Yeah.
And you saw how scary that he is. His age is not as young as you'd think. You know, he's going to be 29 this year.
He's still got a lot of years.
He's still got
sadly.
a lot of years left. You know, he's just starting to.
It's a shame for the Metro. It really is.
He's just starting to find his groove. He's
Yeah.
just starting to find his prime, and I think he's going to be
But
sitting
what's
up.
even better is Matt Murray's 22.
That's wonderful.
He can still go up or down.
Yeah, which will probably be half of his career. I don't think he'll ever be Fleury, but he is pretty damn good.
But Holtby, he's coming off of, 2 of the last 4 years, he's had 40-plus wins.
Well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
too. Also, one other thing about Holtby is he may not stay in the Metro forever, especially if that team starts to decline sharply. He might just say, fuck
you gotta
this,
think,
and leave.
Ovechkin's going to be 33 throughout the season this year. So, I mean, he's
he's
getting
my
there.
age.
His hair is, by the end of this season, it's going to be all gray.
He's probably already all
Um,
gray.
But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just obviously Holtby's there. He really is. And, I mean, I have him at 3. But
Is it crazy to think that he came off as just kind of a flyer? He really wasn't the starter going into that year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I believe it was Michael Neuwirth or it was Tomas Fakun. It was one of the two.
I think it was Neuwirth.
I think it was Neuwirth, come to think about it.
He'll be 33 in September 17th. This is my nephew's birthday.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
I share the same birthday as Clint Eastwood.
Oh, well, there you go.
I share the same one as Mila Kunis.
I don't want to tell you who I share a birthday with.
I am
It's
not
a
going to
good
share
thing.
where my birthday falls on.
Oh, well, yeah, that's...
Falls on, who cares? This is what celebrity or athlete's on yours.
Yeah, you don't want to know what celebrity shares.
Ooh,
my
I even share
birthday.
mine with Steve Martin.
Oh, that's good for you.
Jeez.
I don't share mine with a good person.
We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's just say this guy used to be a beloved celebrity. So.
Used to be.
Used to be. That could be anyone.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh.
That didn't
It's
really
okay.
matter.
I think I know who he's talking about, so
It's-
we'll just leave that alone.
Yeah, it's different in this case. It's not that he's not popular anymore because he just, he's not interesting anymore. It's more like he's not popular anymore because he's sitting in a jail cell right now. So, anyway.
Interesting.
All
I gotta
right.
know. I gotta know.
You got to know?
Yeah, but no. We'll talk about
Okay.
it after.
All right.
We're,
so, with
we're
that,
closing up shop.
with
so.
that being
Yep.
said, quick comments coming in here from Roski. Says John Gibson, a awesome Anaheim Duck. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. He also says J.S. Shiger, the greatest Duck of all time.
Greatest Duck of all time, no thank you. Timu Solani, Paul Kariya come in before J.S. Jaguar, only because, and I could see why Jaguar, he won the Stanley Cup, but let's keep it real. Solani, Kariya, the Ducks wouldn't exist if it wasn't for them.
I'm with you.
Yep.
So, with that being said, what are we looking at on the time there, Frank?
It is 9:59 p.m.
All right, then. So it's looking-
Closing.
It is. It is closing time. All right, then. So we thank everybody for sticking with us on YouTube if you did, and if you came over from Facebook, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Next week, we're getting pretty close to
Training camp.
to training camp. So what we're going to do is we are going to start previewing the teams. And since we got a little bit of time before we're officially in the regular season, we might as well break down by division. So since you will not be joining us next week, Mr. Klankoff, we will not do the Metropolitan. We won't even do the Pacific. Why don't we take care of two divisions where we have no interest nor any fucks given at all? We'll start with the Atlantic next week, and we'll dive into those fuckers up there.
Sounds good to me.
All right, then. So that's what we're going to dive into next week. We'll break down the teams in the Atlantic Division, who has the best shot of coming out of that as either a Eastern Conference Final representative or possibly a Cup winner for the East. Who knows? With that, we thank you all for joining us here on A2DRadio.com. And this was all brought to you by Skizana Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.skizanasports.com. I'm Matt Tatsuni. This is The Dark Wing, Brian Daly. Frank Vespio is behind the boards producing. That's the Penguin lover himself, Michael Plankoff. And we will see you all next week right here, Thursday, 10 o'clock, regular time on a2dradio.com.
Doses.